Okay, we're ready.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I was thinking we start on normal tide. You can see this, right? The map.
yeah, I
Yes.
see it.
Okay, so I think with what will be important is when we go for far spawns, we're gonna wanna stick in groups, but I think we already knew that. But I want to make sure it's reinforced on the Grizzco rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So if there's a fly fish, say, over here, then 3 people go to it. Especially the G
Hmm.
slosher because it's the most efficient weapon for dealing with fly fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think G Slosher needs to focus on like the three different like spawn points mostly.
Yeah.
I don't think Basket gets that congested
Yeah, not on
on
all.
normal tides, so yeah. I don't think Basket gets that congested. Hey, I hear my voice.
Oh, wait a second. What's happening?
It might have been me. My bad.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. But yeah, I mean, I think Grizzco Slosher needs to have that responsibility. Maybe Grizzco Charger for Stingers, but yeah.
Generally, I think it'll be good have to appoint the G slosher to be like the far away captain, and then have 2 other
Hmm.
players follow it, and then
Yeah.
we can
When
appoint
like
we can
yeah, I mean
appoint
like when applicable, yeah.
yeah, and then we can appoint one player to just anchor down at basket and collect basket eggs. It doesn't have to be
I think
host.
host. I
Ideally,
doesn't
it'd be
have to.
host.
I think yeah, but I mean, I think when applicable, host should like
Definitely.
get it. I mean, at least at like the end. In the end is a good rule.
Yeah, so if we're luring at the end, like the last 30 seconds, then the host should focus on basket eggs. At that
Hmm.
point, everyone is at
Also,
basket.
also, when we're like luring drizzlers to basket, I think Grisco Charger should make sure to like deal with the drizzlers because I mean 900 HP goes down real fast when you have like you know Grisco Charger power.
Yeah, and it's not even using all of its shots on it to kill it.
Hmm.
It's like
I
900
think
of
just killing.
1400.
I think just killing it like as soon as it lands in basket is good. Like for normal tide, I mean high tide of course too, but for normal tide, because there are a lot of points where torps can be annoying.
What if it lands
Not
over here?
I also think it should. I think you should kill it if it lands there.
Okay.
Like unless you know it's gonna jump to the other red dot, then yeah. Because it's really annoying to watch torps. Grisco Charger can also watch torps if it wants to, but I think it's good to just get rid of it at the source.
Okay, agreed.
Okay, for Drizzlers, I think we should kill them as soon as they stop because I have noticed that in a lot of games where there's plenty of fly fish or stingers, Drizzlers tend to get delured and they tend to go back and forth, not anywhere near basket until the end, and that's when we get overwhelmed by rain during the last second.
That's also
Yeah.
true.
So I mean, yeah, Grisco Charger can just like prioritize that. I think that Grisco Brella and Grisco Blaster should also prioritize like bombing fly fish and watching torps. Because like they have the range or an AOE to do that.
Okay. So what
What
if
else? What else about normal tide?
in the event that there are 2 fire bosses, say one stinger here and one fly fish here, what do you think should be done with the far away squad of 3 players?
I think they need to go real fast. And kill like I think Grisco Slosher, if there is one, they should like lead the team. Um, But I mean, even if not, if you have like 3 players, then like a Grizzco slasher could technically stay back while like the other weapons just kill the fly fish with bombs and stuff and go for the stinger. On that note, since you brought up the example, the 3 players or 2 players should make sure to grab like the same eggs instead of like one from one boss and one from another.
Yes. So should we leave that decision to the faraway captain that is appointed? Most likely the G Slosher?
Yeah, but I think if like 2 people want to take like the initiative, like we just yell it out in VC.
Yeah, but
I think that's fine too.
I don't think we will be, at least I won't be able to VC at the start of the rotation due to the
Oh
time.
yeah, not at the start, but like later,
Yeah,
like a
definitely.
later time. Yeah.
So, okay. So,
Another thing that comes to mind, like not in this area, by basket, like where your cursor is. Wait, go down. Like in little like mosh pit where like on high tide stuff like piles up. That area. Um, I'm kind of confused, like if we should kill stuff there because we have Grizzco weapons on like normal tide specifically. If we should kill stuff there, or should we let it come closer to basket? I assume we should let it like we should just kill it there. But I mean, thoughts on that?
I feel like it may depend on how many eggs are at play already. So if there aren't that much eggs, we can kill here. But if there's a lot piling up, we bring them closer to basket.
Yeah, I'm just like, I think for eels we should at least kill them. Like eels and steelheads will like pile up there. I'm
Yeah.
guessing because that's just the nature of it. On normal tide, I think you can lure eels more. But if there are a lot, I'd say like kill them early because you have that luxury with Grizzco weapons.
Oh, one thing I'd like to point out while we're at it, scrappers tend to be killed over here and over here. But I think they can be killed closer to basket, like around here, on this rotation.
Yeah, I think the Grizzco Slosher, or I mean, just really just any weapon can like kill it closer. I'd say like, well, the one thing in normal rotations that I like is when others hit like the scrapper and I get to kill it, rather than like soloing a scrapper because that takes forever. So I mean, what do you think? If there's like multiple, well, I don't know if that situation will come up because they're Grizzco weapons. I don't know how hard it is to take down a scrapper, but I don't think I want to solo a scrapper with like Grizzco Brella and Grizzco Blaster.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I'm like thinking, if there's like one scrapper, maybe you can kill it in the red spot if you're like alone. But I mean, I think it's like towards the end of the wave you should kill it closer, especially if you're Grizzco Slasher or even Grizzco Charger.
Okay, so it's kind of the same as if eels and steelheads pile up here, right? If too
Yeah.
many eggs pile up, then we bring it closer.
Yeah. At the very least, it shouldn't be too hard to get those eggs because I mean I think every weapon has enough power, to like get them to get it by themselves with like, not as much needed team support.
Yeah. Anything else about that?
I don't have anything to say about normal tide specifically. Do you?
I have a little more going back to here. So 2 far spawns, assuming we kill both. So ideally do we want to go for the far eggs first and then go for these eggs?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I'd go 1 then 2 because like if you get the eggs from 1, Like I'm assuming you'll kill 2 first, then 1. So by that logic, like when you get the 1's eggs, you can like bomb the snatcher on the rail, like from the green rail, on your way back to basket.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, because I mean, I think snatcher awareness, it's not like I don't think it's a huge issue in our squad or like just in general with Grizzco weapons. But I mean, snatchers are still kind of annoying, so I'd make sure to like. Well, I don't know. I don't know how much you need to, because I mean, if you're Grizzco charger, you can just like annihilate a snatcher from like miles away.
Yeah.
But I think like it's still good to just play it safe in case things are like bad at basket.
Okay, Hawken in
I think
chat says something I kind of want to try is if bosses are coming up the docks path and the white path low tide side, killing the docks path bosses early and allowing the bosses coming up from the white side to get closer to basket. So okay, let's
you gotta
see.
illustrate it for me, Picasso. Just like
Okay,
working magic.
if bosses are coming up the docks path and the white side path. Okay, where's that? Low tide side, so that's here.
I think the bosses will get illusion
Okay, so I
instead of
assume these sides? Oh, white
I
side.
feel like you can. I feel like you can kill stuff there.
Hold on.
Like I mean, they naturally just come up. Through the nature.
I
They
think he meant
naturally
like
just come up.
opposites, like the right dock over there at the top right. Yeah.
If you want my opinion, I feel like you can kill it in those spots for sure. All of the arrows actually, even the ones you erased. Because like if it's one boss, you can kill it. It's faster to kill it, get the eggs, and just go back to basket rather than waiting, right?
Yeah,
If there are
that's...
multiple bosses, because I mean, with Grizzco Slosher, you could just annihilate one boss, before he even stops. So you definitely have that power. If it's multiple bosses, I'd probably wait. Unless they're just not gonna make it up to basket, like just 10 seconds left. But I definitely think you have the luxury to kill it early. If there's too many bosses, I'd wait for it to come closer, but to like to basket. But I mean, at like the start of the round or like end of the round, you could definitely just annihilate stuff and just win the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's like 1 to 2 bosses.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. But also another thing I'd like to mention is steelheads commonly stopping around here. But sometimes I think they can still be lured further to maybe here, maybe a little lower down, like right here. Like say.
So I mean, you wanna rail lure on like the blue thing by jumping.
No, I don't think the rail lure is necessary if everyone just backs off. Kind of like on Lost Outpost or Spawning Grounds if the steelhead is coming from the grates. But
The thing is that I mostly noticed that we have problems with luring bosses next to basket when we have no control over rain or fly fishes. Therefore, people are trying to escape the rain or the fly fish missiles and accidentally trigger the steelheads around that area. So I think we can try luring the steelheads a bit closer to basket, but we need to keep in check the rain at least, or the missiles, because when we are trying to lure missiles in arc Polaris are really cruel on top of the basket because your mobility is low due to the metal ring around the basket.
yeah.
If you want, like this is my thinking for the specifically that steelhead, or like I mean, like just in general, like in Salmon Run, because there's a timer, keeping up with like killing bosses as soon as possible in a at least okay spot is the name of the game. And so on Grizzco, like you have the power to kill it technically wherever you want. So like what I would say is that if you can kill the silhouette stops, just kill it. Wherever it stops, just kill it. I think it can be lured, but I mean, as long as my fear with luring it up closer is like wasting those precious seconds when they don't have to be wasted technically. I definitely see what you're saying. Like bringing it closer is helpful. I think it's just a situation. Like if there's like a drizzler and flyfish on the other corner of the map, I say just kill the stillhead where like as soon as it spawns, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
We can see. I mean, it's like a tough call because it changes on situation, but I don't necessarily think it has to be lured always. Just sometimes.
Okay, so some stuff being said on stream chat.
Oh, I'll just open that. Yeah.
So ABC asks about this again. Going back to this.
Yeah.
So ABC asks, if they're not quick enough, would that cause the bosses to take the longer bottom route around the docks? So I think she means this route. I think.
Wait. Explain the question again, Reiko.
Okay, I'll repeat it. If the team is not quick enough, would that cause the bosses to take the longer bottom route around the docks?
Not quick enough with what?
With dealing with the 4 threats while luring from the other side?
Well, like quick enough, like quick enough running the eggs from like other bosses, or like not killing fast enough.
Hawken responded,
mean,
maybe we can get more clarification. I mean, to that
yeah,
question specifically.
I think it's a good question. Like, but I mean, ideally, see, Grizzco rotations are weird because you can like lure as much as you want and be fine technically because you have the power to just melt everything in front of like literally anything that comes in your path is dead. I don't necessarily think you have to kill it at the bottom. I definitely think you can lure still. If you're like running too many eggs at the bottom though, I'd say like okay, hold on. Oh, I see. Well, like I don't think it matters too much because um like generally speaking, I'd say three people should just be running the eggs. I think one person should always like be around basket at least. So I think that as long as somebody is at basket, those bosses will um like they'll still take the regular path. I don't think they'll get detoured. But I'd still be careful with like running the far eggs because I mean tunneling on far eggs is too detrimental. You definitely want to have like the awareness to be like, oh, another spawn direction just happened. Let's go deal with that first. Especially if you're Grizzco Charger and Grizzco Slosher. Because those things just melt everything. Grizzco Blaster and Grizzco Umbrella should like run most of the like previous spawn egg direction stuff.
Okay, I think ABC clarified a little on the question. So, if you're killing and grabbing eggs on the dock side, and not quick enough to do that, would the bosses on left bottom move to the longer route around the docks where the far bottom gusher is? So...
I think as long as somebody like stays at basket, it's still fine. Well, I mean, what? I don't know. It's not like a I don't think it's a huge issue, honestly, even if they do get detoured. Because, like in my mind, naturally, when the clock hits 30 seconds, you'd, like, stay around basket for a bit longer. So, like, I don't think it'll get detoured. Or, like,
Okay,
even
I
if it did,
think
like, I don't think it would go to the bottom gusher. Maybe it would take, like the other path and, like, go to basket.
this is
Oh,
what
there?
ABC
There?
means.
Oh.
Unless she means like this way.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the latter, not the former. I've definitely seen the former a lot on high tide. Like, we'll all move to well, we move to, like, where the former is, and so bosses from, like, that area just don't go to basket. They, like, go down on the little the ramp. So, like, I don't think the former is an issue. The latter is definitely an issue, though. I don't think it'll happen, though.
I
I think it'll, like, be fine if you, like, as long as you say a basket at the end, which people should do. I think it's fine.
And I assume if the bosses are far enough up the ramp, then they'll just be they won't take the ladder path.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, if you have one person in a basket, I think they'll just take, like, the bolded line.
Okay, it's good that we got that clarified. Okay, so actually one more thing. Two more things actually. In the event we get simultaneous spawns on opposite sides, say a fly fish here and a fly fish here, what do you think should be done? Assuming team is coming up over here, the faraway squad is over here.
Oh, okay. Let's say that, like, that faraway squad is, like, bringing eggs to basket. I think your first, like, okay, there's a fly fish. I think you go to low tide first. You kill it, you get those eggs, and you go back to basket, right? By then, I think the fly fish would be at a better spot. Like, it have oscillated to, like, yeah, that place. That's what I would do. But, like, theoretically, I think that's the best option.
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the best. Dang, I mean, that's probably gonna happen a lot with stingers and fly fish just being, like, annoying.
Yeah. But it's normal tide. It's to be expected.
There's a lot of other things that go into it. Like, so many boss combos could happen. Like, you get a fly fish and you get an eel. Like, those fly fish eggs probably aren't going to be picked up that well or, like, efficiently if there's an eel. Because eel bodyguards love to spawn at the worst times. But
Hawkins
yeah, I'd
says
say
depends on where the other bosses are as well. So
I say, like, it just depends what bosses spawn with it. Because, like, I mean, best case scenario, you get a fly fish and a Moz. Worst case scenario, I think you get, like, a stillhead and a fly fish. Or no, like a stinger and a fly fish. So, yeah.
okay, let's dig a little deeper. Let's say number 1 spot is spawning at the end of an interval, and spawning spot 2 is at the new interval. What about that?
I say, like, I think you won't be that, like, in the Grizzco rotation. I don't think you'll be that behind with spawns. I think, like, because there's so much raw power. you won't be at the situation where you will be behind with spawns that much. Like at least not like double fold of the situation, but if the situation does happen, I say, wait, is 2 the new one?
Yes.
Yeah, I say go to 2, the new one, because like it depends what bosses the spawn. Like maybe 2 has the new mods coming in, and they'll go to basket naturally after you went to 1. But if there's just 2 fly fish, like a new fly fish, old fly fish. In that case, I'd say it depends on what like other bosses there were. Because like if you have I forget English. Hold on. I think it just depends on the situational context. That's what I'm trying to get at. Because like you could go for 1, but I think it's suboptimal because there's always going to be stuff coming from 2 at that point. And like if you go for 1, you'd be behind. And so you could always go for 1 later, right? You could go for 1 if it's like the next spawn direction.
That's
So
true.
I'd say always focus on like the new stuff. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Salmon Run is literally about RNG. So I mean, you're just flipping cards. It's just how you play it, right? So
Okay, so going a little further, let's assume the next interval, number 3, does not have a far spawn. That's when you'd go to number 1, right? Ideally.
yeah. Because if you go to number 1 and get the fly fish there, and you like come back on that rail, like the rail on the at like 1 o'clock of 1, if that makes sense, and you take that rail, the stuff from 3 will just follow you to basket, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think if it's not like another stinger and fly fish, Grizz forbid you get another stinger and fly fish on the other side of the map. But if it's like still has, I mean, if it's like an eel and a moz, they'll come naturally to basket that way. Like they won't just drop down. So yeah, I'd say like you just finished 2, you go for 1. When you go for 1, 3 happened. And there's no far stuff at 3. Just go for 1, and then 3 will come up naturally.
Okay, and also basket player, if they're free, or if they don't have their hands fully tied, they can cripple number 1 fly fish or even take out number 1 stinger, so that it doesn't bother the
Yeah,
faraway squad.
let's say the faraway squad, like the 3 players, go to 2 to deal with the new stuff. I think the player at basket could kill the fly fish and run an egg. If they really wanted to. They just have to like make sure to kill the snatcher before they leave. Which is definitely doable with like a bomb or something. I definitely think that like if you're a basket player, like if you just add basket and the three other people left, you should definitely be doing something productive. Like ideally you want to be productive always, like maximizing the time and getting an egg always. So I'd say just go for 1 if you're the basket player. Because I mean, if you have the time and you're doing nothing, you might as well.
Okay, and I also think it's important for the basket player to take scrapper aggro whenever they can from new spawns.
Yeah, I think yeah, because like my biggest concern with Arc is because the scrappers always just fall off if you're not paying attention, and like that just like scrappers will just pile up, and you never want to hit 3 scrappers because that's like a higher chance to get a stinger or fly fish, right? So I'd say like I agree with you basically.
Okay. So
Like if you're heading to basket and you see a scrapper just spawn, you might as well just hit it
okay, so
just to like ensure.
yeah. Last thing I wanted to mention is, let's say there's a fly fish here, and the faraway squad goes for it. I say we split the firepower up. At least, I mean, in other words, distribute it to make the most of the weapons. So if we have a G slosher, then it only needs to focus on the fly fish. And let's say we have two brellas, they can focus on lessers and keeping the path clear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't need to throw
I
a
also,
bomb.
I also think like I do this too a lot. Like I didn't realize it until I watched like the high scores on Outpost. Like from like the Japanese players and Marty. When you like, I think Grizzco Slosher needs to use his ink tank almost always. There are a lot of times where people or players like will throw one slosh, wait for it to hit the fly fish, then go for the eggs, rather than like throwing a slosh at the fly fish, then like throwing their second slosh at like the lessers that are spawning, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I can definitely
Um,
do that.
so I think Grizzco Slosher, like, because it has 4 sloshes, you can only use like 2. Just get one, like the fly fish, and then like lessers, and maybe use your third one if you miss the fly fish, because that happens. I promise you that will happen. Um, whether you're a good player or not. Uh, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. If you're Grizzco Slosher, you can just solo stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay, I guess let me ask you this: if there's like no, same situation, but there's no Grizzco Slosher, what would you do?
Hmm.
And like,
If
let's say there's 3 Grizzco Bellas for like the worst. Like,
um, well, we do the usual left-right with player positioning, I'd say.
mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be harder to coordinate because the task is split among multiple players at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's too bad to throw a third bomb if the third player throws a third bomb, even though there's already 2 bombs in both baskets. Like, it's not that
Mm-hmm.
bad. Not that punishing, at least on this Grizzco arc.
I definitely think you can like. I don't know how. Like I don't know if the third player needs to throw a bomb. I mean that stuff just happens naturally, but like optimally, the third player probably doesn't need to throw a bomb. I'd say like because there are other lessers spawning at the same time of that fly fish, so they should probably use their ink tank towards like those lessers and stuff to make it easier to just escape, get on the rail, and just get those eggs.
Yeah, if the third player, like, I don't think we'll be exactly unified in movement, like, we're not in the exact same
Yeah.
place. So the third person will probably be a little behind the other 2. So if the first 2 bombs don't go in the basket, the third player can come in to make sure the kill gets done. But ideally, we only need 2 bombs.
Mm-hmm. I think also just like if you're not VCing, just like doing something already is a lot easier because like if the third player just goes to kill the lessers, I think it's already understood like, oh, us 2 need to kill the fly fish. Like that just reduces confusion and brain power used. So I think you can just like assume the role.
Okay, so going back to stream chat, Shurashu asks, would you call the basket? So I assume what they're asking is if basket is overrun by bosses and stuff, that it needs to be called. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the thing
Well,
is,
let's say that situation does occur. And like, well, wait, what were you saying about like it being overrun?
so I'm assuming that's what's being asked if in VC, if the basket is being overrun, then the basket player would say, hey, I need help, come back. Oh wait, no. Surashu says that they meant when you approach a fly fish.
I think it's like it depends. I feel like every player should be doing something. So like, if it's at the start and a fly fish just spawned, I definitely think all 4 players should just focus on the fly fish because guaranteed another boss will spawn by that fly fish. So the 4th player or the basket player can just like get that egg. I guess. Hold on, I'm looking at chat too. Okay.
Oh,
Who should go what? Okay, I see. Well, like when we VC, I feel like I never have to say which basket. I don't know how you feel about that. Am I like contradicting myself, Rico? Because like, in my experience, like with you and Sess and Ricarnaldo, I feel like wherever you're just standing, you just aim for
Yeah,
that basket, right?
yeah, but
Yeah,
just in case we can call it out, it's not that
yeah.
hard to
Because
do.
I think it's just like understood. Like if I see two people ahead of me going for that fly fish, I just assume they'll kill it, and um, like worst comes to worst, I just play devil's advocate and aim for the one that's on my side at least. Because there have been times where I feel like we just bomb the same like all four of us just bomb the same basket.
That has happened.
But I feel like that just happened on our yard so many times.
yeah, it has.
I think it just depends. If you have Grizzco Slusher, you just like you don't have to worry about that. If you don't have Grizzco Slosher, I say just for simplicity's sake, VC or not, just bomb whatever side you're on. It makes
Okay.
it so much easier.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, is there anything else about Normal Tide?
I was gonna comment something when you were talking about fly fish and other bosses spawning. I guess we are gonna be rotating who the basket player is because sometimes far egger is gonna be hitting the scrappers that just spawn, and therefore it should be the one standing at basket to load them as soon as possible. So
Yeah, I
um,
think. Sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt
no,
you.
it's okay. No, it's okay.
I definitely think they should rotate. You should definitely rotate because if you have the same three players just going, I think it's kind of suboptimal. Like ideally, the three people who are like ready to go, would just go regardless if you're like host or not. Specifically on Normal Tide, because like if you're just waiting for three people, those like it might be hard to get three people always if one person just at basket permanently. If you have like four flexible players just going around, and the first three go, and then the last one who reacted the latest, like, chooses to stay at basket because they have like Grizzco Slosher with three scrappers coming on them. Like they should stay at basket and let the first three who like respond to go for the other ones. You should definitely like have the basket person rotate rather than like have it just only as host or only as Grizzco Charger, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Okay.
With that said, I say at least like act in your best, like use like logic, right? If you have like Grizzco Charger and there's like a ton of stuff coming to basket and the others have like Grizzco Umbrella, you leaving with Grizzco Charger is probably a bad idea. So you should probably look at your weapons too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I said this in VC to them. Like if there's three Grizzco Sloshers and I'm Grizzco Umbrella, I'm not bombing a single fly fish. There's no, you can't make me. I'm gonna make you go for that fly fish. So just be smart about your weapons.
Okay, that reminds me back to this spot with the three faraway players. Okay, so what if there are... Okay, let's say there are three G-Sloshers and one is at basket, but the other two are in the faraway squad. Do we say the closest player with the G-Slosher attacks it and the other G-Slosher can slosh at lessers?
I definitely think. Wait, how many G Sloshes are there? Like three?
3, 1 is at basket, 2 is tackling the fly fish.
Well, I don't think it's that big of a deal to like have like in the group of three have just two of the G Sloshers just throw a slosh. Because I mean, at that point you still have 6 collective sloshes. And I think that's just more than enough power to go for the lessers. So I don't think it's a huge deal if you really want to optimize Grizzco slosher closest should just like go for it.
Okay, yeah.
I promise you, if you have 2 Grizzco sloshers, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, it should
Because I
be.
mean that's too much power. I say it's almost illegal, but yeah,
It's cheating.
it is cheating. Yeah.
Anything else about normal tide?
No, done. No more. I want to talk about normal tide ever again.
Oh yeah.
Focus on high tide. I want to focus on high tide.
Wait. One more thing.
No.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So,
No, please.
assuming the Grizzco Slosher is the appointed captain of the far away squad, when it sees the next far spawn that it should tackle with other 2 players, should it always call out this way to gather the other 2 players? If we're not VCing, that is.
Well, like just in general, like I know what you're saying. Even in VC, like you could like signal too. I think it just depends. I think it just depends because like my problem with the call outs, and I don't know if players realize this or not, it's something that I realized like a few months ago, is that when you this way, it can like blind players. Like a really good player will be able to blind their other teammates. Because like if they use call outs, let's say for the far eggs, other players may drop what they're doing to go for the this way. And like that happens at top level play too. Just because I'm not like a big fan of that because I want players to like use their own intuition and be like, okay, I'm gonna go with this guy or I'm not gonna go with this guy. Like you'll see it in like the very good players who like they'll literally blind you. And you'll be like, wow, we played so well. How did we do that? It's because the call outs. Not solely that, but I think the call outs can be kind of blinding. I think you should still do it. Just be careful of the power that comes with like the this way. Because I mean it definitely makes some rash decisions.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be easier on voice chat, but
Oh yeah,
there are
definitely.
times we won't be able to voice chat too. So
I'd say like also if you this way and you're alone, like 1 to 2 players didn't come with you, that's like you should still go. Like if there's 2 players, if you have to do 2-2 split, I still think you should go for the fly fish. Because like it just wastes time to leave it alive for too long, especially when you can go for it. You just have to remember to kill the snatcher. If you don't kill the snatcher, that last egg is just leaving. Especially on arc. Are we done? We're on normal side, right?
I was wondering
What's the next?
if we should, for arc specifically, we should start luring earlier than other stages, because it's arc. Like
I definitely think you can. Like on normal side fog, you basically have to stay at basket at a certain point because if you don't, those goldies are never coming to basket.
yeah, the goldies are so slow.
Yeah, normal side fog is like the worst.
I actually have that on the screen right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
The last goldies won't simply go to basket unless it spawns on the low tide area. So that's so RNG as well.
If you want, like, my thinking is that at like 50 seconds, almost like Bay, kind of in free. Like at 50 seconds, I think you should just plant yourself in basket and just deal with the fly fish stingers at the end after the goalies come. Because if you leave basket at like 30 seconds, if you leave basket, at like 30 seconds, those goldies won't come to basket. I promise you, they're gonna fall off unless somebody's just like walking with it, like a walking a dog, I guess. But yeah, I say like you should plant yourself in at normal tide fog, and like by like parallel, you can also do that on normal tide, on regular normal tide, because there are a lot of times where maws or scrappers will just fall off and they won't come to basket because there's so many people roaming around the map and not staying in basket. So I definitely think it's okay to just stay at basket.
On fog, would you say 50 seconds is?
I just think fog is more strict. So yeah, 50 seconds.
And on normal tide, maybe 40 seconds?
Yeah, 40 seconds. It depends what other, like, if stingers are the last spawns, of course, go for them. Like, don't stay at basket. If you stay at basket when they're like fly fish and stingers spawning at like the last seconds, you're throwing. Like assuming there's something at basket. Like you don't want to be in the situation where you're doing nothing, so just always be doing something.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, stay at basket at 50 seconds if you are doing something like luring and running some eggs. If you're doing nothing, I say still go for the stinger. Or like fly fish at the end of the map. Just make sure one person's just watching the goldies, because otherwise they're not making it to basket.
Okay, I think we're done with normal tide finally.
Yay.
And normal tide fog. Let's not talk about normal tide fog. Let's talk about actually you want to talk about all like the normal tide night waves?
Normal tide night waves? Okay.
Let's talk about Rush.
Oh.
Yeah, let's just get all, because they're all bad, right? Let's be honest. Like these are not the waves. Let's talk about normal tide rush. Yeah, let's just get it over with. Ah, yes, just what I love. Okay, my biggest like. So this isn't a money wave. Don't even. If you're gonna focus on something, focus on the high tide night waves and that knowledge. You don't need to. I don't think we need to pay attention to this, a ton, because it's normal tide rush. What are you gonna do? Get 200 with normal tide rush? Good luck. But one thing that can help with normal tide rush is that Grizzco, every Grizzco weapon besides Grizzco Charger can like focus on hitting the far fish. Like on the right dock side, the red side, you can focus on those fish, those chums coming in from the grate on the arrow. Like, you can hit that and like it speeds up. It keeps the goldies rolling in, so you still get eggs. Also on that same like platform that you'd be on, like on the red arrow, you can also go for left dock stuff. And if you like pay attention to the timer, like make sure you're not getting targeted at a random interval while you're still down there, you could like inkjet and ray. You could ray from basket and get the far chums, but if you have inkjet, I still think it's okay to like go to left dock with inkjet or even the shore and just like, if you're not being targeted, just like annihilate with inkjet. With bomb rush, you can do it too, actually.
I'm assuming you're talking about wave 3 rush.
Like yeah, but also you could do it on waves. I wouldn't recommend using your specials all that much on normal side rush. But here's the thing. On like during Grizzco rotations, what happens to me is that I find myself like by wave 3, normal tide day, I didn't use my specials because I had a Grizzco weapon. I didn't need the special, right? So if you get like wave 1 night, I say use the specials, like go ham. Go all out with your specials, because there may not be another time where you use the special. At the end of the day, it's RNG what other wave you get. Like, you get high tide grillers wave 1, then you get high tide mothership. Oh well, but I say just like, I never like being in the situation where it's wave 3 with my specials and there's nothing to do with them, but there was stuff to do with them in the previous waves.
Oh, I hate
So
that.
like, yeah. So like, if it's wave 1 normal tide rush, I'd say you could even pop one special. You don't have to pop both. But wave 3, yeah, you should definitely use them.
Okay, I just remembered something about normal tide or all the tides in general. So there's, I've mentioned this before, but not on stream. On this shore, the thing is,
Oh, those are some nice lines.
so you know how spawns can sometimes keep repeating in the same direction? If it's coming from the shore spawn, it cannot repeat. So if there are shore spawns, then it'll always either be left dock or right dock as the next spawn.
So I've been hearing about this, but I don't really understand it because, like, for me personally, like, okay, in our own team, like me, Sess, Ricarnaldo, Reiko, like, let me be honest with you, I don't even pay attention to spawn directions that much. Like, I know I can tell, like, internally on my internal clock, like, yeah, spawn direction just happened because you hear the horn too. Like, I hear the horn, but I never paid attention to the direction. So like with Arc specifically, if it spawns at green, it just like the next one has to be blue or red. It
Yeah.
can't be green again.
It cannot be green.
Okay, what about so? But if it's blue or red, like the current spawn direction, it can be blue or red again, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's so weird. Why is it like that?
It's like that for one part of the stage on every stage.
But that's so. So I guess like with the is it like that on Rush too? Like if it spawns at green, will it have to change?
It should be, since it's the same
That's
mechanism.
gross.
And on low tide, it's the white shore that does this.
Oh, it changes. So for high tide, like high tide and normal tide are the same, right? Like it's just green.
Yeah, it should be, to my understanding.
Okay, and then on low tide, it's the red. Okay. I mean, even if you know that knowledge, it's not like you'll know which is the next one. You can just be prepared to
Yeah.
like get the eggs from green, then move to like the middle of right and the blue and red, and just be ready, right?
Yep.
Same thing with low tide. Like you go to right side and you come to basket, then you be ready for blue or green. I mean, that's it. There's not like a ton you can do that knowledge, I feel like. Unless you feel like I'm underestimating that knowledge.
I feel like a big part of this knowledge would be mental preparedness. Like, even if you're not
like,
thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a good. Like, you should use every tool in your arsenal. This is another tool. But let me ask Reiko. Like, now that you know this, does it change the way you play at all? Like, I'm trying to see if there's something I'm not realizing. Basically, like now that you know this, does it change anything really?
At this stage in the game, after how much I've played, not really, because as you've said earlier, the spawn direction changes are kind of internalized for me. So I expect the next one to be already happening.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like for me, if it happens at the same spawn direction, I'm like, oh great, I don't have to move that much. But like I know I'll know where it is. But if it's not, then like
It's somewhere else.
yeah, then it's just somewhere else. Then you just go to somewhere else. So I mean, yeah, that's about it. I think, but it's good to know, especially on like high tide, because well, actually no, it doesn't help that much on high tide because like it explains something for me. It explains to me why like you see you don't see as many spawns on green, but you see it on like red and blue a lot. Like I feel like out of all the high tides I played on Arc, I I've been in red and blue more cumulatively than green, so it explains something. But like, you're always gonna need to go where the bosses are, so it's not like a super helpful.
Okay, next normal tide night. Let's talk about grillers.
Release.
So
Yeah, I'll let you
we've
go
seen this
over, like,
before.
yeah,
We need to break the 60 at least in normal time.
yeah, we need to break 60. I'm sure like some top team will like get 65 though. I feel like so like refresh me. If you have aggro, you should just stand where the squid is standing, the orange squid.
Yeah,
Like
basically.
that's okay. That's optimal. Because then the grillers take like the least amount of time.
Not
So basically,
necessarily, but it's just easy to manage as well.
oh, I see. So like,
And also less turns, I think. Because, say, this griller right here comes up this way,
Mhm.
that's 1, 2, 3, and assuming we do the skip, 4. But over here, it's
worse, it's
1,
like
2.
5 or 6 turns.
Oh, yeah. So taking
If
turns
you
into
don't do the
account,
shortcut,
it should
yeah,
be faster, I think. Assuming we kill it here.
yeah. Do you know the time for it to take the 11.3 griller? Do you know how long it would take with the shortcut?
No,
Mm.
I could look that up real quick.
Yeah, I want to see. Like, I want to see if it's like 9 seconds. Like, if it's a really big difference or something.
Because keep in mind, this app does not take into account the griller turns.
Wait, it doesn't? That has it calculated.
It's just the distance, I think. The distance of the lines.
Huh. See, that's weird because like in October, I found out like a Japanese player said it's not about the shortest path; it's about the path with the straightest and least turns. So like,
Actually, it might be faster because it's 7.5 seconds, even with the extra turn.
that's
Let
why I'm
me.
thinking like if it does the 11.3 griller, like I don't know, it's a normal side griller. It's not a huge deal, but if you can optimize that, I guess the real question is it shorter or faster to go like the least turns or most turns? I don't know for sure. Um,
Okay,
but it doesn't
assuming...
matter. Well, like I mean, okay, knowing as okay, let's say hypothetically, the 11.3 killer takes longer than like with the more turn path thing. Um, like it doesn't matter. But let's say for sake of simplicity, let's stand at like the where the orange squid is. Yeah, let's just stand there because like you could just get grillers from like the red and green sides, like the dock and the low tide shore area. I guess where would you kill it? If you had like Grizzco Slosher and Grizzco Charger, where would you kill? Where would you stun and kill the griller?
Okay, which direction are you talking about?
Like if you're standing at there, like the orange squid, like using this strat, where would you stun it?
Okay, if it's coming from low tide, then... Because it's normal tide, I'd say on this ramp is fine.
I'm talking about like before 30 seconds, let's say.
Before 30 seconds.
Because like after 30 seconds has passed, you want to lure the grillers closer.
Mhm.
I feel like over here is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming we're doing this strategy of staying on here with the aggro, I'd say also over here is
Yeah.
fine.
Maybe we can try killing them whenever there's a inked wall. Trying to kill them earlier. I saw a post last year, I think, about how early should grillers be killed with Grizzco weapons. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
let's see if we find that post. But if we so on the second circle you circled, you could like what's it called? This isn't something I learned this recently. And I pointed it out the last time we played on Ark. But there's like a snatcher there that will carry the eggs closer until like we're the 6.9, the nice time. Like right there, yeah, it'll carry it there. So I mean, you could like hypothetically, you could kill a griller at 2, and then you could go straight to 1, kill a griller if there was a griller there, kill it there, get those eggs, then come back and kill the snatcher before it falls down.
Do you think we can
at
push
2.
that to over here as well?
Yeah, you could push it there at 2, I think.
So we just need to keep in mind the snatches, but the aggro player can keep an eye on the snatches anyway if it's over here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, aggro players, I mean, because likely there'll be 2 different players aggroed.
Ideally 1, but yeah, probably 2. Who knows? Maybe the griller just likes one of us that day. At the start, we have to make sure we're like positioning wise at the start of normal time night. I feel like we should just be at one of the edges, because if you have Grizzco Charger, you can just stun and annihilate that griller really fast.
All right.
It'll be really
picture.
Okay.
The black circle should be the spots where a griller should be stunned. At least according to this.
What are the red spots?
I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to look at the like low tide black circle. Like honestly, that could work. Cause like if you stunned it there for every griller that passed by there, and because like you have an orange, because like you're standing there by like the dotted square anyways, it's definitely feasible to like stun and kill it there and run the eggs, because there's a wall there too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's too like much of a hassle though. I think it depends, like what other grillers there are.
So this is assuming we don't use the aggro strategy and just play as we would have normally. Because the
I mean-
grillers would be like coming up this way.
Well, like I feel like those black circles are still optimal technically. Like it's just wherever the griller's passing. I'm guessing we don't have footage of like the last Arc Grizzco normal tide grillers, because like who the heck remembers that, right? But I feel like these black circles are optimal. Like if the griller comes from low tide, I feel like you could stun it there, like at the black circle.
And then go back up the wall.
Yeah,
I feel like if
You
we
could
have
even-
at least 2 strong weapons, like a charger and a slosher, we can have the other 2 weapons want the remaining eggs, while those the strong weapons tackle the next griller.
mm-hmm.
Depends on the aggro too.
Yeah. You just have to remember to be good with like egg efficiency, because I don't know, like if you're Grizzco umbrella, I don't think you'll be focusing on the griller that much. But if you're Grizzco Charger, like, yeah, you should be running eggs at the same time, because you have so much range. You could just like annihilate the griller from far away, like double productivity. So I just say like, I mean, if eggs are piling up, I'd say lure a bit closer, especially towards the end, like at past 30 seconds. It's too hard to run the eggs that are far. So yeah. I think there's also a 60 normal time grillers on like Arc that has like Sploosher and like Charger or something like that. So it's on the record site, I think. Like, it should be linked. I'm not sure, but if possible, I say take a look at that. I think it was good, like really good egg running.
Okay.
Anything else about normal side grillers?
We
Is it
can throw
done?
the wave.
I mean, if I get this wave, so I said this to, like, if you want my opinion, this is for anyone at this point, because 200 is kind of like high scores are kind of free on this rotation if you have high tide night. Like, this is my opinion. If you get like wave 3 and it's not a wave you want, and like the other 2 waves weren't good as well, you might as well just throw it. You might as well just submerge, because you gotta make the most of your time on like a limited time rotation. A limited time busted rotation, that is.
True.
Because I mean, the next time Grizzco Arc happens is like 2022.
Oh,
So, yeah. Okay, enough of grillers, right? We're done.
okay, what else was there?
Okay, let's focus on
Seeking,
normal side seeking then.
seeking, I don't think there's that much to talk about.
I think the only thing that needs to be two things in my mind. One, the Grizzco Chargers, singular or plural, should be looking for the Goldie, because 4K range is great, instant 4K range.
Yeah, I think the G Charger can stand here and hit both the starting gushers easily.
Oh, that's good to know. So yeah, I mean, Grizzco Charger should definitely focus on that. If you don't have Grizzco Charger, unfortunate, right? But I mean, I just think like it should never be to the point where Grizzco Slosher is looking for the Goldie. Like, if you get 4 Grizzco Sloshers, unfortunate, but yeah. Okay, on that same note, if you do have Grizzco Slosher, I feel like you should be running the eggs. Because there's a lot of times where snatchers will come in a line from like the spawn points, and they'll like, because they're in a line, just one slosh will annihilate that whole herd of snatchers coming in. So I think Grizzco Sloshers should be aware of that. At the same time, you should be aware that like, if there's snatchers coming, there's like a gusher right before that, just avoid hitting it. This goes for like high tide seeking too, but like Grizzco, all the Grizzco weapons need to make sure not to hit like another gusher. I think it's really annoying when that happens. It's not as penalizing on normal side seeking, but it's still like a penalty nonetheless.
Oh yeah, for snatchers, I'd agree as well. Killing them in a line earlier before they reach the eggs are easier to manage. Instead of, let's say the Goldie spawns at this gusher and is going this way.
Yeah.
And the snatchers are coming up this way and they, like, drop down to get the eggs here. That's how that works, right?
I don't know if it comes from, like, let's just use that example for now. If they are coming, then you should already be at like, the Grizzco Slosher should already like throw a slosh like at the arrowhead of that red arrow.
So that the slosh is going this way.
Yeah.
And then there should be a pause between the line of snatchers and the next line coming. That's if the eggs aren't run immediately.
Then you'll have time to like run the eggs basically without being interrupted, because I mean, I guarantee like bad snatcher awareness will just lead to problems with running eggs, especially if they get away. If they get away, then big time loss. Anything else about normal side seeking?
Do you think the DPS of the weapons will be enough to pop the Goldie when we want it to?
With
Yes and no.
blasters, I think 2 blasters and a charger are enough for good DPS for the Goldie. And if we
Yeah,
get 2 blasters, a charger, and a G-Slosher, then the charger can seek, the G-Slosher can take off lasers and snatchers, and the blasters can hit.
Okay.
if you want like so Grizzco charger wise, if you have Grizzco charger during seeking, like you should just dump your tank, like just go like release everything in your tank. Like it's December, I guess. You should just like annihilate the Goldie because 1400. So 1400, it's like 1200 burst DPS, right? It's like 1200 DPS. Um, it's 1400 like in your tank, but it's 1200 DPS, I think. So knowing that, like 1200 DPS is nothing to laugh at because how much HP does the Goldie have? 6500, I
6500.
think. Yeah, it's like a fifth, almost a fifth. So yeah, I think like as soon as you empty your ink tank, you need to start refilling your ink tank. I think the Grizzco charger should always focus on the Goldie no matter what. Um, because even if you have like 2 Grizzco chargers, I feel like the Goldie could still like run away really fast if you just like if you aren't paying attention because you run out of ink so fast on Grizzco rotations. Like there's a lot of power, but you just run out of ink, and so there might be a point where like you dump all your ink, and like the small Goldie is just getting away.
Yep.
So I just say like I don't think most teams will have trouble popping the Goldie, but I say at least pay respect to the Goldie. It is insane DPS, but it's not like Dynamo insane.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else about Seeking?
Hmm. Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Okay, let's focus on Mothership. So, for Mothership specific, for all Motherships, technically, Grizzco Charger needs to like definitely pay its duty to getting Chinooks. Normal time Mothership specifically, where do you feel like Grizzco Charger should be? Assuming there's only one Grizzco Charger.
I feel like here can be an alright position
Mm-hmm.
because it can hit all of these coolers right here and maybe a couple coolers over here.
It can also like aim for like there's some Chinooks on the right side, um, that like they fall over the grate, so you could hit it early, fall on the grate, so someone else can run it, or even the Grizzco Charger. I definitely think the Grizzco Charger should like run eggs. It shouldn't just be like planted there. It just needs to like always be looking up, if that makes sense. To look at Chinooks, it shouldn't be like looking down while egg running. Because I mean, you could definitely egg run, put an egg in basket, and just come back and fire away. Right? So yeah, I think Grizzco Charger is also pretty valuable. Okay, let's say there's like no Grizzco Charger. What should the positioning be then? I feel like Grizzco Brella then comes into mind because Grizzco Brella could like reach, like if they play on the left side by that grate, um, they could reach a lot of the Chinooks. Yeah, that area is pretty like a hot spot.
Hmm.
Because I mean, I don't think Grizzco Blaster and Grizzco Slosher is like. Do you get Grizzco Slosher during Mothership? Sorry, there's nothing really else. There's no like solution. Um, Oh, remember, you should be throwing bombs during Mothership. Because,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you have the opportunity to do so. It's not like you need the ink anyway, especially with Grizzco weapons. 'Cause, I mean, Lesters will just die. Like, the green line there that you just drew, if you're a Grizzco slosher during Mothership, I feel like you should definitely be throwing sloshes down there sometimes, because that way you won't have lesser problems.
And I also
Yeah.
tend to throw bombs down here. Like as I'm coming to basket this
Mhm.
way, I tend to throw bombs. If there's no lessers, if I don't see any lessers in this general area, I throw a bomb in this area. Assuming they're
Yeah,
coming up.
yeah, that's good. Like, a bomb can't hurt. It's just paint on the map, right? If you have the stagnant ink tank, by that I mean, like, you just always have a full ink tank. You might as well just throw a bomb. You're gonna regenerate that ink anyway, right?
Yep.
But yeah, Grizzco Charge is pretty like needed on Seeking and Mothership. And Grillers, basically all in money waves. So I say just pay your due diligence to normal side Mothership because I mean if you're good if you're like have Grizzco Chargers, I think 60 like consistent 60s are realistic.
What do you think about
Eh,
having one player in this area?
Um if you have like two Grizzco Chargers, I feel like you could definitely like assign an area. Like one Grizzco Charger to the right, one Grizzco Charger to the left. Um but if you have one Grizzco Charger, I definitely think that um there should be times where the Grizzco Charger is watching the left, but usually there will be three other weapons there, so it should definitely be running eggs from the right.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think?
Hmm.
Agree? Disagree? What are you thinking?
It definitely depends on the positioning of the entire team, I think.
Hmm. I think I'm painting a really idealistic picture. It's never going to be that idealistic in game. That's just with anything like sports. You can draw a game plan all you want. I don't. It might not go like that, right?
Yeah.
But I think ideally, like because the Grizzco Charger is gonna be on that like little platform thing, that area, let's say, and because the right side is closer, you can definitely just draw down, run an egg, come back, just annihilate the gray area while doing that, coming back up on the wall. Um, so yeah,
Okay,
because I mean, if
assuming...
you, yeah,
Okay, I think if we're speaking in ideals, we might as well talk about alternating egg running positions between players. Because I don't think it's idealistic for both players to be in the same progress, if you know what I mean.
cycle,
Yeah.
like they're in the same, yeah,
I think one should be
yeah.
at the eggs, one should be at the basket at the same time, and they'd cycle between.
Hmm. I definitely think with Grizzco umbrella because if you have the range, you can definitely like focus a bit. Like the more range you have, the more leeway you have to hit the Chinook. Um, like you have room for error, basically, right? So, um, I'd say like the cycles matter, but the more range you have, the less it matters. If that makes sense. Like it's not as punishing, basically. It's still more ideal to like have that little alternating cycle thing, as long as you're not being like suboptimal, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to just be sitting there watching Chinooks when you can be running an egg.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess you're a Grizzco slosher. Hope for the best. I really don't know what to do if you're Grizzco slosher. Anything else?
I guess the most you can do with G Slosher is predict the cooler landing spot and slosh ahead of time. but that's kind of intensive
Oh
for
yeah, I
Mothership.
guess speaking of yeah, wait, that's a good point. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna use double ray on Mothership because I don't think we need splashdown though. I don't know. Do we need splashdown
Splashdown does
for
an
the second
instant
approach?
700.
Like if it's wave 3, use the splashdown. If it's wave 1 or 2, do we need the splashdown for the second approach?
I feel like just shooting it with the Grizzco weapons does the same amount, or even more.
Like you should have the Mothership repelled by like 7 seconds or like 8 seconds, right? That little
Yeah, 8
like as it's
seconds.
changing, right? So, um, like the logic behind splashdown on the second approach is that if you use splashdown, that's free 700 damage, and so one weapon can like run an egg quickly, so that you don't need all the weapons that are repelling it, just like an extra egg, right? You're basically trading a special for an extra egg or like more help with the repel. Um, so like I don't think you need splashdown on the Grizzco rotation if it's wave 1 or wave 2. And then like I say still do double ray even if you have Grizzco Slosher or Charger because it's still worth it. The ray is too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
One thing I'd like to note is I couldn't find a normal tide Mothership cooler map anywhere in the time that I did
Mm-hmm.
search. But there is one
Yeah,
for high tide on every stage, I think. Maybe that could be not the case later. Maybe more research could be done.
I mean, if somebody wants to go through the work to um make the Chinook map, I commend them.
I mean, you're just watching the
But
coolers land and just marking the spots, right?
yeah, it's not. But I mean, like naturally, you just focus on like the two best areas for Chinooks.
Yeah, generally.
Um, like because like they naturally come to one or two areas on normal tide Mothership that are like close to basket too. Because I mean, if it spawns away from like basket, I don't think it's worth it to go for the Chinook, unless like I don't know. At the end of the day, it's RNG because um, I'm pretty sure like because there are times where like there's a lot of Chinooks in one area, but like a different wave, different instance of normal time Mothership, there might be like not as many. So I think it just depends. Like if you know or don't know. At the end of the day, if you see a Chinook, it's coming to basket, just shoot it. I think that's just like at the bare minimum, that should be done. Like regardless if you know or don't know where the Chinooks spawn.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have anything else to say about Nomatide Mothership.
So we're focusing on high tide. That's what you're saying, right?
Did you say low tide?
I we can focus on low tide. We can focus on that. Save the best for last.
Wow, you got trolled.
Okay, what's different about low
Okay.
tide? Low tide has a lot of snatcher optimization potential, especially with G
Do you have
Blaster.
Hawkins map?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's focus on. Yeah. Like, so I saw this on Twitter. It has happened to me a lot too. Like sometimes the snatcher will just like it like walk to the edge and just disappear. Just like
Yeah.
it'll like
Oh,
snap its fingers and just evaporate. It's really weird, but
I've actually never
um
seen that myself.
I hope you see it. It's really
I mean, I saw the
magical.
clip, but not in game when I'm playing.
Oh, it happened to me. It just did it next to me. I wish I
Oh,
could. It was so weird. But my biggest like confusion with the snatchers is that like let's say we have Grizzco Blaster, um like yeah you can optimize the snatcher. You just have to remember, you have to remember like there was a snatcher there, I have Grizzco Blaster, so yeah, I should be optimizing them when the Snatchers leave. At the same time, is it really like that worth it when I guess it depends how many spawn. Like, okay, let's say on the right side, like there's a Flyfish and Stinger. I'm guessing people don't want to do like 2 trips, so like they would just get like 3 of the eggs, and then the other 3 would. Like the other 3, like a blaster, or maybe even. Do we know if Grizzco Umbrella or Grizzco Slosher can pierce? Or I'm guessing Grizzco Charger can, but I don't know for sure. Actually, no, Grizzco Charger probably can't, but I don't know for sure.
I feel like G Slosher can with the AoE, if that's what it's called, the AoE.
Yeah, the area effect.
Because that's how
I
Blaster
was
does
thinking
it.
the same. Yeah, I don't know if like you don't want to slosh into the water. I'm guessing you want to like have the slosh parallel to the water.
Yeah.
Like it's just like skimming the water basically.
At certain
I don't know.
points, like here and here, you can do it with any weapon. Because the Snatcher
Because the
physically
Snatcher like
appears.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's you could watch it. I don't have that level of like awareness yet, but um
Voice chat would especially be useful here if we do the Snatcher optimization.
I definitely think you can just this way. And like my biggest problem with not VCing is that if you know there's a snatcher coming, but you're not a weapon that can get it, I mean, there's not like a way to communicate, oh, get the snatcher for me, Crystal
Yeah,
Blaster, right?
it's not specific.
So I definitely think VC helps with this snatcher stuff. But I think it's just like Grizzco Blaster has a big responsibility in this, like in low tide. Okay, so what were we talking about? We're talking about
Snatcher optimization.
no. What was the box for?
The box was for Hawkins saying that Splashdown is easy to get snatches in that box.
Also the other box, right? Like
The
you
red
could wherever the snatcher is technically, like you could splash down,
Yeah, I feel like
right? Like
it's
the ones where it
possible.
comes physically up.
Yeah, this
Like where it
should be
comes
the
physically.
easiest right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it can still be possible here if you splash down on the edges. Because you don't want the edge to stop the splashdown, right?
Yeah. Also, I'll give context for something I said. I said that like Grizzco Blaster needs to pay attention to the snatchers. The reason I say that is because I'm gonna assume that Grizzco Slosher, like as soon as a Flyfish spawns, I feel like Grizzco Slosher just go. And I feel like when that happens, like people should pay attention that the Grizzco Slosher went because that Flyfish isn't gonna live. Those eggs are gonna like my I feel like I don't know how much balance there needs to be between running the eggs that Grizzco Slosher kills around the map and like snatcher optimization. I don't know how much like people actually need to go out and run the eggs because I don't do snatcher optimization like a ton. I don't know. What do you think? Like, let's say there's a flyfish. Let's say there's 3 flyfish on the map, and Grizzco Slosher kills them all. And it's like midway, so you still have time to run the far eggs. Would you suggest like 3 people go run like 2 of the flyfish and then Blaster just stays at basket, waiting for the other one, or like they come back to basket while running a far egg and they get the other snatcher on like the other side maybe.
Yeah, they can do that. That sounds plausible, I think.
I think the optimization is mostly going to be near the end of the way, since we are gonna stay near basket during the last 15 seconds. So I think if it's still very early or there's still plenty of time, I think we can still go for far X as we normally will.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like yeah, by like nature, I feel like snatcher optimization will just happen at the end of the round, and then like any other time in the round, I feel like just run the far eggs.
For simplicity's sake, I think the easiest thing to do with snatch optimization with G Blaster is, let's say you're doing the optimization for this stinger. So your G Blaster is standing here, you just shoot straight on, you just keep shooting as the snatcher jumps in the water and you get the eggs. I think it's that simple.
I don't know if it's harder to do because like you need 3 Grizzco blast. Actually, no, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's gonna be easy. You need 3 Grizzco blaster shots. I mean, 3 shots is nothing. With Grizzco blaster, you can just hold ZR.
Yep.
So yeah, like you say.
Like, the
What
fire rate
else?
should be enough.
What else is there about low tide? I feel like there's other stuff, but I mean, I don't remember.
Stray flyfish. Which is like
I feel like
spawning
Grizzco
grounds.
slosher just needs to pay attention.
Yeah.
Like whenever a Grizzco slosher happens, I say just like be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Even with stingers, probably.
Oh yeah, if there are eggs on the bridge, they can be brought closer to the basket. Because the eggs is,
Mm-hmm.
the snatcher exits over here.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think people should also like in the purple by like the corner of the water there's like a steelhead that spawns there, like where your cursor is. Yeah, like a steelhead that spawns there, and sometimes people kill it and they don't wash the eggs and they just go away, right? I think that one steelhead specifically on this map needs to be watched.
Yep.
What else? Oh, I think Grizzco Charger can reach stingers from basket. Like they can kill stingers from basket.
Like, if they're standing at the edge here, they can hit this one and this one. Most likely this one.
Yeah, I feel like they can. Even if like okay, like by the rail at basket, like you can reach the stingers. Not the one you circled, but like the ones next to it, like the left stingers next to that one. Yeah, yeah. No. Like if you're standing by the rail,
Oh, the end rail?
no. Like where you get to the other side.
Oh, here?
Like yeah, right there. Like Grizzco Charger can reach that for sure. I don't need a. I'm like 99% sure it can reach, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure too.
So I think Grizzco Charger should definitely like pay attention to the stingers during low tide. Especially if we get to do it from basket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, Grizzco Slosher should be aware of like steelheads and eels. I feel like there are a few times where steelheads and eels can like they could mess up the basket and just make it snowball, right?
Oh, yeah.
So because you can just ignore cycles and pierce, I don't think it's worth it to like have Grizzco Slosher paying attention.
What do you
And like
think
major
about...
props if there's like a drizzler, because I mean that's just added damage.
What do you think about steelheads that are just stopped at these corners? Like,
I feel like Grizzco low tide specifically, you should just kill them, like so they don't like go on for another cycle, because it's kind of annoying the penalty, like the green ink penalty on the map. It like really adds up. I'd say like it should just be killed because all these weapons are so powerful. Getting those eggs probably won't be an issue.
yeah.
I said this in normal tide, I think. We were talking about that, but just killing everything as soon as possible is the name of the game. Especially with Grizzco. I mean, it's for Salmon Run, but it's a hell of a lot more possible during Grizzco.
In other words, being super aggressive.
Yeah, I think you should just be super aggressive. Especially with Grizzco Slosher. I
Okay.
don't. If you're a Grizzco Charger, I feel like you should definitely still pay attention to Stillheads, though. Ideally, every weapon will pay attention to Stillheads. I just feel like they cause unnecessary snowballs on low tide when they like stop there and no one moves up.
Is that all we have to say about Snatcher optimization?
That's all I have to say about low tide, actually. What else is there about low tide?
Cannons and Mothership?
Oh, night waves, yeah. Cannons. I think the issue with cannons is like, are those the cannons? Oh, those are. That's where Drizzler spots are too, aren't they?
Is it?
Yeah, you're right. I'm just looking at the map wrong. Okay, anyways, um, for cannons, Grizzco Charger and Grizzco Slosher don't need to be in the cannon, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like Grizzco Slosher especially because flyfish are really annoying. So if Grizzco Slosher can watch the flyfish for cannon, it's gonna be so much easier. Um, and because of that, I think it'll be a lot easier. Like there are times where you need two cannons because you can't reach everything from cannon 1. You might need like cannon 1 and 3 or cannon 1 and 2. But on Grizzco, I feel like you don't need it as much. Like you can just have cannon 1 and that's it.
Yeah.
As long as Grizzco Slosher is paying attention to the yeah.
Anything else about cannons? Other than
I think the
cannons
same
also doing Snatcher optimization?
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's Grizzco Blaster and Cannon can just watch it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mothership time, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you do this one. Where do you want Chargers to be?
So I think these are the paths that Chinooks take with their
Mm-hmm.
Kulus. I feel like the Chinooks on the left side are further away than on the right side. So I think G-Charger can be on left, but it can alternate between left and right with good awareness and ink.
When it runs eggs, like it has to go to the right anyway to deposit the egg. So I definitely think it could, like either when it's running the egg, like going to basket, it can look at the right side a bit, and like when it's turning back, it looks back at left anyway. So
Hmm.
um, I think there are a lot of times where Chinooks actually spawn on like the left and right. So there's a Grizzco Blaster already there, like on left and right. I definitely think it should watch it. It's like extra eggs.
I think alternatively with the G-Charger, it can snipe the eggs so that they land here, but also it can get the eggs here and still snipe from there and go back on the rail, or even just swim back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically just one side covered by G-Charger. Again,
I feel
ideally I
like
think we'd have at least 3 G-Chargers, one for each side.
I just always assume one G charger. Um, I actually do think Grizzco Slosher has some functionality during this wave because the Lessers like to pile up at basket. So my opinion is that if there is a Grizzco Slosher, it should just take the middle, like the middle um pathway, I guess, because Lessers come from there, and like middle. So, and because it's like a vertical like thing, the Grizzco slosher doesn't need to aim too much. You can just slosh. It'll be fine.
On the bridge?
Yeah, on the bridge. You can just slosh straight. I feel like it'll be okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because I don't know how much Grizzco slosher. Like, I feel like a good, even like a decent Grizzco slosher player will be able to like focus on like the middle bridge and just get Chinooks and run eggs. Like as you run the egg, you slosh back to hit any Chinook. You can multitask technically. It's hard, but you could. Anything else about low tide Mothership?
I think if we only have one G charger and it's focusing on the left side, we can have. I think Brella and Blaster can reach the right side Chinooks because they're closer.
So you think the umbrella should be on the right side?
It can.
Like, okay, ideally, Chargers on left, and I feel like Grizzco Blaster and Grizzco Umbrella, if those weapons are in the comp, they could focus on the right side. Anything else about low tide Mothership? I feel like low tide Mothership's not really like a money wave, you know.
Yeah, I think I've said all that I wanted to.
You know what is a money wave? Low tide fog. On the very off chance you get it, you're not really gonna get it. I guarantee you it's gonna be cannons mostly, but you can hope for fog. Anything to point out for fog? I feel like just Grizzco Slosher needs to play really well against flyfish and watching like basket. Avoid getting like congested at basket. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember to like pray to Grizz. Get your 10s instead of 1s. Maybe instead of like 33% chance it'll be 34. Who knows? Anything else about low tide?
Oh, right. On normal tide or fog, if we can, maybe we can rail lure the steelheads closer from the corners here. We can stall on the rails and make them come closer to basket.
Yeah.
If possible.
Yeah. On that note, also, definitely need to have some awareness with the like still heading Goldie combos. That happens a lot. That will happen a lot too, on this rotation especially. I say especially because I feel like things will just come in and just people will be ready with Grizzco Slosher to annihilate. Not seeing the Goldie behind the stillhead and just yeah. So I say just be aware of the Goldie behind the stillhead. It's gonna happen. In VC, it's a lot easier because someone will notice and be like, "Oh, hey, don't shoot the steelhead." I also think you can kill the steelhead earlier on fog for any fog wave, fog tide. I mean, just to get rid of that like issue, just more peace of mind, right? You don't have to worry about it and preventing the issue in the first place.
And also toward the end wave of fog, I think it can be with jet luring things to basket if needed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, have you seen? I saw some like Twitter clips where like they lured the Goldie like directly next to basket and the
Oh
eggs
yeah,
landed
I
in a
saw
more
that.
favorable position for host.
Mm-hmm.
They made the Goldie come to the corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the
It
eggs got
has to be
flooded.
like, yeah, it basically has to be touching a corner. I feel like that's hard on low tide um, because like it'll go straight. The goalie will go straight instead of like to the corner first, unless you purposely lure it to the corner. Um, so yeah, there's just that to be aware of. But ideally, you want to like have the goalie like touching the corner, then you just annihilate the goalie. If it's a 10, it really pays off. If it's a 1, waste of time. But you tried.
Yep.
Okay, anything else about low tide fog?
Nothing
We get
specific.
to focus on the yes, money wave, high tide. Let's focus on high tide.
Finally.
Okay, low tide Gulu's turn.
No. Hope for low tide seeking outside grillers. Okay, so for high tide,
High tide normal.
yeah, high tide normal. Perfect waves are definitely in like they're realistic on any rotation technically, but it's very likely that it'll happen for a decent amount of teams. I think the two rules are for high tide on this map is, well, I'll say three. One, keeping up with all the boss spawns, like you should just be keeping up. Two, running the eggs, like paying attention to where the snatchers are. Punching lessers away, which is definitely possible. Like you could just solo a lesser horde with any of the Grizzco weapons, so you don't need a lot of team support as well. You should still make sure you're running like the same egg pile rather than like picking one from each pile and the statues are leaving. And three, Grizzco Slosher is almost the MVP of this wave. Scrappers are dead, eels are dead, steelheads are dead, flyfish are not living. A good Grizzco Slosher will be able to like focus on flyfish, so like not a single missile hits the basket. I definitely think it's possible because you could technically just hit. Like you could stay at basket and Grizzco Slosher could just slosh. It could probably reach, right?
So this flyfish, it could definitely reach from here, I'd say.
Yeah.
This
Same thing with the right side.
flyfish right here as well. This
Mhm.
one definitely by basket.
Yeah.
Those are the common spots.
It could happen on the right side where that gray area is. Like if there's a second flyfish, I'm pretty sure it can still reach there too.
Oh wait, did I just wait?
Hey, you want me to go? Never mind. I feel like that's it for high tide because I think the one thing that players should be aware of is that they have the power to just go for an egg anywhere on the map. The problem with high tide on regular rotations is that lessers will cover the eggs, then the eggs will just leave, right? But that I don't think that'll happen too much with this rotation because it's Grizzco. I mean, you just like slosh once or hit ZR on the blaster, you'll be fine. You'll live. As opposed to like mindlessly going in and being punished for not getting out safely with the egg.
On that note, do you think it's worth killing the bosses right as they spawn? Because it's right next to the wall.
At the start, I say yes. At the end of at like past the start, I don't think it's worth it. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, I don't think it works as efficiently because ideally you want them to like walk up to the little chokehold area where the two paths meet, the red and green. Yeah, right there. Ideally, you want those bosses to like meet and just like take Grizzco Slosher, press like slosh 2 times, they're all dead, right? Um, Another thing is that Grizzco Charger really needs to watch for drizzlers, because I mean, rain's always an issue. But I mean, if you get rid of it at its source, it'll never be an issue. There's like 2 drizzler slots there at like the bottom technically, but yeah, it's like right there. So like the spots at the in the like the corners, well, all these drizzler spots, like the next jump is at basket, isn't it?
This one I think will likely jump here.
I think
No.
usually it jumps there, but it can jump to basket still.
Yeah, but they I have seen that Rizzler jump just next to the grate below.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, I mean, I think ideally you can just kill the drizzler where it is, but If you know it's gonna hop to basket, you might as well just kill it there when it's flying to basket.
Okay.
For steelheads, like they're gonna stop at the usual spots, the 3 spots. Yeah, basically steelheads will just stop when they spawn, right? I think they should be killed just right there, as soon as they go off. Especially like basically any weapon can focus on it. Um, those are steelheads. Steel eels, I think they should be killed early too, like while they're still in the water. It definitely can
Basically,
be done. Yeah. Well, maybe not for like the green area, like the graded side on the left, but I mean the blue and red areas, like the right side areas, you can definitely kill the eel in the water.
I don't think I'm remembering correctly, but if you kill the eel early enough at here, will the eggs land up here?
Yes, I've seen that happen.
I think it's more likely when you already have eggs at like the bottom, and the game will be like, oh, there's no space. I'll just put it up there.
Okay, that's something to try out.
Yeah, I mean, even if it doesn't go up there, I feel like it's still faster. Because I mean, you don't want to be at the point where there's like an eel and it's coming, and you're like waiting to kill it at the chokehold, at like the place where everything converges, and like as like a snowball happens. You have Grizzco weapons to prevent that, and technically you could live during a snowball, and you probably get mega payoff. But I still think it's easier to just what's it called? Like just kill it early, get rid of it. Like I said, just like keeping up with boss ones is probably the best medicine. Like the best medicine to normal rotation issues, because normal rotation issues shouldn't happen as much with Grizzco weapons.
Okay, so what if there's like 3 eggs here, but the bosses are now spawning here?
Mm-hmm.
Do you say like G-Slosser definitely goes to the new spawns and then Vela and Blaster can get these remaining eggs?
Yeah, I think Grizzco Charger and Grizzco Slosher should just go in the new spawn always and get those eggs while the Lester's still spawning, while Grizzco Blaster and Brella can just run the old eggs.
Okay.
Technically, Grizzco Blaster and Brella could focus on the new spawn, but I think it depends on the comp. Because, like, if you have Grizzco Slosher, you can punch through any lesser. So, there's that. But I think Blaster and Brella will take slightly longer to deal with everything, especially maybe Brella. So, they could probably focus on the eggs that are still left around. I think it especially matters at the end when there are like eggs that are free to get without any lessers, and then there are like sides with a bunch of lesser spawning with eggs still there. At that point, you need to play your weapon really. You have to look at your comp and be like, okay, I'm this weapon, so I do this. Or because there's no Grizzco Slosher, I need to do this. If you don't get high tide with Grizzco Slosher, it's unfortunate.
If there is no G-Slosser, do you think it's worth using specials on High Tide Normal?
I think you should be using specials with Grizzco Slosher or without, but I think there's more of a necessity when there isn't Grizzco Slosher, yeah.
I feel like
And
Ray and Jet would be the most prominent ones.
yeah, because I'm thinking because of Flyfish, but
Yeah, Flyfish.
like basically when you have Grizzco Slosher, you just need to pay attention to Flyfish at like the bare minimum. There's just a lot of work to do with Grizzco Slosher, but the other weapons can help the Grizzco Slosher. Like you could like accompany a Grizzco Slosher and get an egg with it rather than like it going like 2 times, having to like focus on that for too long and then being behind with other spawns. I definitely think you can be more team like with like 3 people, just going with the far eggs with the Grizzco slosher.
Yeah.
So like you get some payoff for their sloshes rather than like having them go alone, wasting a bit of time. I don't know, that kind of stuff.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about egg prioritization. So let's say we kill a fly fish here, but there are also eggs at the shore here. Do you think we should go for these eggs first because they're more prone to being snatched?
I mean, if there wasn't a Grizzco rotation, I think I'd go for the great flyfish eggs first. Come back, like deposit those eggs, and then come back for those like ones on the edge of the water. I'm pretty sure it stays the same with Grizzco, but I'm not sure.
So like that.
Well, I don't know how the arrows go. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you. What's faster? Is it like going on the grate and then going back to basket, or is it like going on the grate and going on the wall back to basket? Is it the ramp or the wall? Personally, I think I do the ramp, but I don't know if it's faster. I think it's faster.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's what I would do.
okay.
Yeah, okay, let's say ramp is faster. I mean, if ramp is covered, then you go to wall anyway. So.
Yep.
Okay, anything else about high tide? I feel like you just have to have good snatcher awareness. You never want to be at the point where like you're leaving an egg and like a snatcher just takes it and perfect wave opportunity is gone. Yeah, like Hawkins saying, eggs by the water are. I don't think it'll be a huge issue because you can just punch through lessers and kill the snatcher. Just being aware of the snatcher is good.
Okay.
Now to talk about. Wait, is there anything else to talk about high tide? Anything else to talk about with high tide?
There's the little snatcher
Yeah,
optimization
exactly.
over here.
That great area.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you kill that fly fish, you might as well just wait and like ideally if I was Grizzco Slosher, I would kill that fly fish, grab an egg, come back, and then wait for that snatcher. And like that time that I was putting in the basket egg, I'd hope that the snatcher was already going like I don't know, down on like the tile, the white area, and then you kill it there, right? I think that's it. I don't know if there's any other snatcher optimization. Is there anything else to talk about with high tide? I feel like it's kind of simple. Assuming there's Grizzco Slosher.
Nothing else I can think of.
I feel like I'm oversimplifying it, but like this is all theoretical. I mean, as long as Grizzco Charger and Grizzco Slosher, like as long as you focus on flyfish and drizzlers, I feel like it's fine. And then the worst boss after that, I think, is eels. Oh, I guess another thing, shooting maws, worth or
Oh
not?
yeah. Depends on the comp.
And depends on the placement.
Yeah, because if you have a maws and there's like a scrubber right behind it, you might as well just, press ZR with Grizzco Charger.
And in voice
If
chat,
there's,
we'll probably say just shoot the Mars.
yeah.
We've already been doing that.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really important too. Let me think. Nah, that's it. That's all I'm thinking of.
Okay, so that's normal high tide.
Money waves.
High tide mothership.
Okay. Oh wow, this is so small now that I realize like the Chinook spots.
So
That's actually nothing. The heck?
so this is where the mothership direction is. Just to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
And
So like, what I'm thinking. Well, what are you thinking positioning wise? Assuming there's no Grizzco slosher.
G-Charger at the back. Sniping
Mm-hmm.
these eggs so that they land over here instead.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
much
you're right.
pretty much the same thing as low tide yard.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like you just have to make sure that Grizzco Charge is like running some eggs too. It definitely has time to do it if it's looking up and like paying attention. Um, I think that Grizzco Blaster and Grizzco Umbrella should focus on like the front of the mothership, like in the little like ramp area, like, where your cursor is right now, like right above that, like that area. Chinooks land there, and so you could like I think Grizzco Blaster and Grizzco Umbrella could do some work and grab those eggs before they're taken away by snatchers.
Hmm.
Same thing with the left side, the little like left ramp area
I feel
on
like
high
the
tide.
left can be taken by Brella. Because the eggs are kind of slightly further away from basket than say this side.
Mm-hmm.
This side can be
I feel
taken by
like
Blaster
yeah, I
or
think
G-Slasher.
Blaster and like if possible, host should like focus on the right side.
Yep.
Because there are like a lot of eggs landing there.
And also the
So
eggs that would be dropped by the Charger.
yeah. Ideally, if you're not host, you wouldn't run a basket egg. Like that's just ideally. It's not gonna happen. You can run a basket egg. It's just like it's just the lagless is so much better than with lag. So I think host just needs to put in due diligence and respect towards basket eggs, not have them pile up too much. Because if you leave them piled up, like snatchers will become really annoying. Another thing, is that coolers like ideally you watch every cooler and every chinook coming down so that no coolers like spawn on the ground. But I mean, you miss some. Like people are human. You're gonna miss some. Um, at the very top of SR, like yeah, they're task bots, monsters. They can just watch every chinook, right? But I think for most players, if a cooler, like you see a cooler land, just throw a bomb or just kill it on the way to your next egg.
Yeah.
Because I mean, no, like lessons aren't a problem on the Grizzco rotation, but if you can get rid of it at its source, like Drizzler torpedoes and Drizzlers, might as well. I'm gonna guess that like so of course 2 rays. Splashdown might still be worth it though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have like 4 Grizzco chargers, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But because I mean, if you have 4 Grizzco chargers, I mean, I guess 3 because one would be raying, or let's say 2 Grizzco chargers. That's like I can do math. Wait, 2800 damage. So that's like 4/5 of the mothership HP. So I think you'll be
Mothership
fine.
HP is like 3500, right?
Yeah, so 4/5. Yeah, I think I'm right. Yeah. Um. So I think it'll be fine if you don't splash down. If there's Grizzco chargers, like plural, but if there isn't, then I think it's still worth it to splash down.
Okay.
Because you don't have that much time on high tide compared to like normal tide, I think.
Okay, what about jet and bomb launcher?
Well, here's the rule. I think if they interrupt you with egg running, then don't use them. because you want to be always like egg running usually on high tide Mothership. But if it does help you, like lessers are in the way, you need the ink, or like if you're Grizzco Charger and you like need ink for Chinooks, then I say go for it. Use Bomb Rush, but I don't know. Jet is kind of weird to me because I feel like it's not as needed on Grizzco rotations. Because I mean, you're gonna use it for like range and damage, but and like inflation maybe, but I don't think you need it as much on Grizzco because those three categories are already filled in by the weapons themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else with Mothership?
I don't think
You just have to be really fast, basically.
on high tide Polaris, is there a problem with the caviar landing away from basket?
Nah, I don't think so.
That's
As long as host is running the basket eggs, yeah.
yeah, that problem is mostly existent on low tide bay, I think.
I think it's on like the low tide versions of the other maps, but it doesn't happen that often on Arc specifically, thankfully.
Yeah, I can't remember a time that it did happen and it was painful.
I think host should just run the caviar,
Yep.
like black egg, and like others should run the other eggs. Preferably, you'd run like wherever you are on the side of the basket. You'd run those eggs by you, closer to you, unless like there's two people. Then you go for the other one.
So I think we can do an order to that to make things more predictable. So here's player 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say these are the positions the players are at, and the mothership has just been repelled. And there are eggs like all around the basket to be gotten.
Yeah.
Instead of us going like, oh, there's an egg here, 1 and 2 goes for it, that's wasting time, right? We can, if possible, we can establish a directional order we can take when doing this. Like, we can go counterclockwise or clockwise around the basket, each of us.
Well, I don't think it needs to be so like calculated, if that makes sense. I think you could just do whatever you want naturally, but just make sure like you're not missing any eggs. Cause like the end is really like you can deposit like 20 eggs in the span of like 5 seconds. Like at the end, if you watch like the egg counter, it'll go up super fast. I definitely think as like host should look out for the caviar. The other players should just run the other eggs. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think as the mothership is being repelled, all the players can be, or at least most of the players can be looking up to see where the eggs are landing, and go to those spots ahead of time. Unless there are other eggs to be won on the sides while those eggs are falling.
Yeah. Anything else with high tide Mothership?
Not really.
Okay, so what is it next? Next money wave. Big 300.
Grillers.
Okay. Well, actually, Reiko, do you have anything to say on this? How do you want to start off?
Let's tackle just the organization of team positioning. So I think we can I think by now we all agree that the griller should be dragged to this area, and the
I
players
think it should
stand
be
here.
stunned in that area, and like
Yeah,
I think there are gonna be times where like it gets stunned right before the green area, and yeah, it'll be stunned there sometimes. But I mean, you don't want eggs to pile up there, so you should move to green at some point.
mhm,
Yeah, we all agree on that. Another thing, the the weapons responsible for that are gonna be all the weapons technically, but more so Grizzco Slosher and Grizzco Charger.
yep. Um,
If there's like if there's two Chargers, and you're like another weapon besides a Charger, I think you should just focus on like pay respect to the small fries because you don't want the Chargers being annoyed by small fries.
yeah. I mean, the blaster can do
Mm,
both, hit the griller and get the small fires, because of the
hmm
blast.
I think Grizzco Slosher, if there is one, and it comes from like the right side, like the red spawn point, um, if it comes from there, Grizzco Slosher really needs to pay its due diligence. And if Grizzco Slosher isn't there, then like Grizzco Blast, the other three weapons need to be on like the red little area by basket and stun it as someone else brings it to green.
Yep.
hmm
A big reliance on G Slosher.
Yeah, I think every weapon's gonna have to play up some kind of part because in my opinion, high tech grillers is like the hardest wave in this game. Um, high tech grillers on arc, but even in general, I still think it's the hardest wave. Mm,
And also, I feel like the G Slosher only has to need to focus on stunning.
yeah, I don't think it needs to focus. It should. I think all the weapons should focus on egg running though. I
Yeah.
think they like 4 people egg running is too powerful, especially like since it's Grizzco, you can just do the like it'll be super easy to egg run and kill stuff. When it's like the start of the wave, I think the first and second griller should be killed at like the bottom, if that makes sense. hmm I think the first and second griller should be killed there.
Okay.
If you have Grizzco Charger or Grizzco Slosher, it'll be easy. If you have Grizzco Brella or Blaster, it'll be harder because it'll get away. But I mean, like the first one should always be stunned at like the bottom. The second one, I mean, I think it just depends. If you can't get the stun, just lower it up. But I mean, if you can, props to you, and then like that'll speed things up a bit.
I think we should avoid stunning it at this corner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because I mean, if you have Grizzco, Brella, and Blaster, it'll probably be too late. So
One thing I want to mention about aggro. So let's say the griller is coming from either side on here, and it's coming here. So the aggro player would be standing back here, or somewhere over here, right?
hmm
If there are eggs here, they can be won by this aggro player, while the other players stay over here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
So, because these two of 3 directions come from this intersection, I feel like we can kill this side's grillers even as far as back here. Because the aggro player can just
Yeah.
naturally run the eggs there, as they're waiting for the grillers to
hmm
come here.
Wait, do grillers have the little? You know the thing you said about spawn points? Is that the same here?
I think so.
Yeah, they can only spawn from the green side once, and then it will change either to blue or red. But
Okay,
they
that's
can
actually.
spawn it from blue and red.
hmm I think that's actually really helpful to know because if you know it's green, then you can be automatically prepared for red. If it's blue, then nothing really changes that much. Like positioning will be relatively the same. Another thing, if there's two Grizzco chargers, I feel like that's super powerful because a Grizzco charger could just be on like one side of the chokehold, and then another Grizzco charger could be on the other side. I'm emphasizing this a bit more because I want to avoid the clip where Rego had the griller, he moved to the right, and then all of us moved to the right on yard the other day.
Oh,
I don't want that to happen again on high tide grillers because if we all move to the right, then no one can hit the tail. So I think I feel like you just have to be aware of where the griller is going to turn. Is it going to turn left or right? And if you're a Grizzco charger, then you kind of have to be aware
yeah,
of like where it's going.
this is what this plan is for right here. So that people know it's always gonna turn over here.
Do you always? So the person aggro should always be in the green.
They should. I feel like it would make things easier if the team knows the griller will
Where it's
always
gonna
turn this
turn.
way.
Yeah. Okay, then yeah. Let's. Oh my god, how did I not think of that? You're so smart, so dumb. That's actually really smart. Just do that because it's a lot less of a headache than what I was thinking. So the thing I'm thinking is like if you're Grizzco charger and you're aggroed, I guess the others just have to pay attention if there's no Grizzco slosher, right?
Yeah, but it's if you wanna be risky, it's also possible to hit the griller from underneath it at the right angle.
What I'm thinking is like if you're aggroed and you're standing at green with Grizzco charger and it's coming from blue, you could like hit it before it like turns like at the chokehold.
So
while
if
it's
it's
coming
like
up the
right
ramp.
here, the tail is here, you can shoot it like that.
Yeah, so I definitely think Grizzco charger could do that.
It can shoot it at least once if it doesn't want to stun it there to
Well,
make things easier.
you need 3 shots technically
Oh
with
yeah,
Grizzco.
the dumb thing.
But like I think someone else will hit the griller. Like a blast will hit it or a umbrella pellet will hit it. Oh, one thing I did on Arc the other day with undercover umbrella is that I would lob the undercover umbrella shot like over the griller and have it hit the griller.
Oh, fall off. Yeah,
Yeah, fall off. So I
Brella
think
can do that.
umbrella should do that. I think it's really helpful. It helped me a lot when I was watching Small Fries. What else? Oh yeah, specials. I feel like High Tide Rush as well, but I feel like almost all specials should be used in this wave.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's no other better wave to use it in.
Goodies.
If we have G Slosher, how do you think we should handle Stingray?
Oh, I think they can just use Ray still. Like, okay, if you're Slosher and you have Ray, if you need the ink, you might as well just Ray. If there's a Slosher and you don't have Ray, and somebody else has Ray, they can just use it whenever. I think Ray can only help. I don't think it ever makes it detrimental, right?
The only thing I can think of is like DPS.
Yeah, I don't think DPS will be a huge issue on this rotation, but it's definitely a concern. If you're like Grizzco Charger, I still think you can Ray. But it's just a tiny bit of a DPS loss if the others don't focus on it.
Oh, I just remembered something.
Mm-hmm.
So, a good thing to think of is what needs to be done next. And if we have the weapons available to do it. So let's say the G-Slosher goes down. And we just killed a griller here, but there's another one coming here. The G-Slosher is dead. This one needs to be stunned pretty soon. But like I said, G-Slosher is dead. It cannot stun it. So I think the Ray can be the substitute for stunning the griller. That's a useful way.
I think Ray or Inkjet should be used. I think a special, like, if somebody goes down, special, because like that special will compensate for that. I'm also trying to think, like, I've seen teams take the green griller and like they'll bring it to red instead of like on the ramp to avoid the turning time. I think. Is it worth it? Do you feel like we should do that, or
What do you mean?
like they'll take the griller that comes from green, they'll have it turn once and they'll make it go straight. Like wait, where it spawns at green, they'll take it, like it'll go diagonal, right? And it
To
turns.
the red.
The first turn. Like, yeah, and then they'll make it go straight. They'll make it go there. And then they stun it there.
Hmm.
Do you feel like it's worth? I don't feel like it's worth it. I feel like you can do it, but like, I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant towards that because it's not hard to run those eggs. I think it's just kind of a hassle. I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
I think it will be detrimental in case the next griller spawns on red, and it's luring someone who is grabbing eggs over there. It could just break the whole rhythm of the way if the griller
Yeah.
doesn't go to the expected place.
Yeah, I'd say that too. So I think if it's like the first griller, you could do it, but I mean, if it's not the first griller, I don't think it's worth it.
I think the advantage of killing it here means that if the next griller is from green, which can be predicted because of spawn intervals, the next griller will come up here. They'll lead the griller up normally, and these eggs can be collected while shooting at this griller. That's the only thing I can think of, though.
But I think, like, as a rule of thumb, like 99% of the time, if you have aggro, you should be in the little green section. I think it'll help a lot.
For our team, we'll try to do that, I think.
Yeah, let's do that in our team. That's grillers. It's like, anything else about grillers? It should be a free, like, I'll say 80. I think it's a good 80. 85, I don't know, maybe go for 90, but I don't know, it's in my skill set, personally.
So, going back to killing grillers here, do you think it should be avoided at all costs, or we can do it up until a certain point?
I think if it's like not the end of the wave-ish, like if it's before 30 seconds has passed, and like that spot is kind of empty, like no eggs were there originally, like, there are no eggs there right now, you can stun it there early. But if there are eggs there, like you put it there, you stunned it there and killed it, like in the first place, like you didn't run those eggs yet, then you should avoid it a second time.
Okay, so we can, if it's not the end of the wave, we can kill one early here, but only if the eggs are one, we can kill another one, but no more than one griller eggs that are left here. Otherwise, we lure it here.
Yeah, closer to the basket.
Okay. And I think we can do the same for
expect-
here. Though over here, it can be more lenient because it's only one direction here, while over here is two directions. We can have 2 grillers worth of eggs here, I think.
I think what will happen is that, like, because 2 grillers spawn at the like nearly the same interval, or well, like they're slightly spaced out, right? So one will come in closer. I think Grizzco Slosher will like stun the first one where it wants to, and the other one will be like kind of back. So like, if it comes from like green, and you stun it in like the little green box, the second griller will be stunned in the white, like chokehold area. Yeah. So I think that like by nature it'll happen anyway.
Okay.
That's if you have Grizzco Slosher. If you don't, then I think like they'll be stunned in the same exact spot, like on top of each other. If you have like Grizzco Charger or that kind of stuff.
Oh wait, one thing I didn't mention is if the aggro player is here and the spawns are here, they can be running the eggs that are left over here by the previous squillers that were killed there.
Yeah.
It's the same as over here, basically.
The thing I'm afraid of, like running the eggs there, like in the previous example you gave, the example you just gave, if the griller will like go past the basket gusher and like turn to the red area, um, I don't know if it's like I don't know how that works, but
Okay, where?
like that would be a kind of a time loss.
Like here?
Like no. If the griller is coming from red, and instead of it going to the green box, it would go to the red box.
Like
Like
here?
it turns by the basket. Yeah. If you're running eggs, like I'd just be cautious of that, because I mean, I don't know how strict it is, but
Uh,
feel like it could happen accidentally.
I think according to Ganji's Salmon Run app, the griller will never take that path if you're running eggs and the intersection. Let me take a picture.
Oh yeah,
That's
it
good.
shouldn't, because the shortest path will be this. Otherwise, it will have to take this path around and do this.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
Because...
Okay, so that's good to know.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be safe to run eggs if you're aggro.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. Anything else with high-tech grillers?
So G-Slosher, minimum 2 sloshes per griller to stun.
Yeah, I think Grizzco Slasher definitely needs to pay attention to its ink tank.
Ideally, I think it should never have to use the 4th shot from full. Unless it's like the
I think
very
it
last
can.
griller.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It can use it at the end, and like I don't think it can just slosh 3 times.
Yep.
It might not even need to slosh like a third time, because maybe it'll die so fast, and you need the other ink for the other driller maybe or something. Like the next spawn direction. But yeah, I think 2 sloshes at least, and like 3 maximum. I don't think a fourth one needs to be used, like you said.
Oh, and also at the end, we have to make sure we de-lure the last grillers if there are too many eggs to get.
I say like
Or not de-lure, we can
um
just stun them and...
yeah, you can send it early. It's just like I think if it hits like 5 seconds, just de-lure it. If it's still 10 seconds, I feel like that's still enough time to
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I think it's about timing.
yeah, because if you're a Grizzco Slasher, you can just like glass cannon. You could be really risky and just like kill it. If it's at like 5 seconds, you're not gonna be able to. I don't know. It depends, because if there are already eggs at basket and you haven't ran them, which happens a lot, it'll be hard to like what's it called? Avoid the last griller coming on top of those eggs. I think you have to use your best judgment.
In the event, although unlikely, that there are no eggs left to be run and there's like 5 seconds left and the griller is right here. Or right here, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever. We can just try glass cannoning it and try and run maybe 1 to 3 eggs.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Okay, anything else about high tech grillers?
Hmm. I feel like this could be very roll oriented or roll heavy, depending on the comp. Like
What do
we
you
mentioned
mean?
it earlier. Like Brella and Blaster, small fries, G Slosser stun, G Charger damage.
Like stunning it there?
Oh no, I'm just moving my cursor around.
Oh. Um, yeah, I don't think there's that much else to talk about. So let's go to Seeking.
Okay.
I don't have much to say for high tides. I don't have much to say for high tide fog or Seeking, but high tide Seeking specifically, like trying to think. Uh, well, I think the biggest like revelation I had with you is that if the Goldie is at Gusher 2, and you kill it there, like there's a ton of eggs being dropped there because Grizzco Charger will go wild, right? Um, two people need to like watch those eggs, yeah. Two people need to run those eggs at the very least, while two other people like get the other ones and seek. Because if they pile up, then like I don't know, use purple or something to draw the snatchers. Because snatchers will come by two and they'll like cover up the gusher and like the gusher will be opened. I don't know. It'll be too annoying.
So I think here too, you wanna kill them when they're in the line.
Yeah, you can do that with Grizzco Slosher or Grizzco Charger.
I feel like you.
It's just that like the issue with it happening at the basket, like too, the goalie happens there. Like what happens is that we look at the goalie, a bunch of eggs drop down, it turns small and it like speeds up. Um, and then like we're all focusing on the goalie there. And then when we come back it's like snatcher filled. And like
Yeah.
the gusher will close and then it'll be too annoying. So um I feel like host can just like stay back and while the others like kill the goalie. I don't think we need all four people to look back and kill the goalie. I feel like three people, especially on this rotation, is enough.
G Charger can definitely stay back because range.
Yeah, that too. Splashdown is really useful during this wave. I don't think Ray should be used at all. Like, is there a point in Ray in this wave? I don't think there is.
Maybe if you have 4 Grizzco bracelets.
Yeah, if you ever get to that point. Hopefully not, but I mean,
Do you think it would be worth it if the G Slosser is out of ink? Would it take too long to recover ink and shoot, recover ink and shoot? Rather than just weighing for a constant damage?
I feel like raying for constant damage with like any of the weapons is fine if the Goldie is getting away. With Grizzco Slosher specifically, I feel like it can be useful because like if you have 2+ Grizzco Sloshers, that's kind of bad. All you can do is just random 360 damage instead of like continuous damage.
For a second there, I thought you were gonna say 360 no scope.
But I mean that's my 2 cents on Ray. I feel like it's useful, like quote unquote useful, but ideally I don't think it should be used that much. Let me think. Inkjet can be used. Inkjet and Splashdown like the same way. You kill the lessers, aim for the Goldie. Especially if you're like Grizzco Slosher. I feel like it's useful. Bomb Rush, definitely useful. Like you could dump your whole tank on the Goldie with Grizzco Charger and then Bomb Rush or Splashdown and just like, get all your ink back, right?
Yeah, and then
And
once
throw
you're
some
out
more
of ink,
bombs.
once you're out of ink, you can dump the bombs.
You can even do both at the same time, but I guess that's kind of hard. But like, I mean, you turn 1400 damage into 2800 damage. You turn that's like 1200 DPS in 2 seconds. For 2 seconds straight, so 2400 damage. It's pretty insane. Anything else for? Oh yeah. Grizzco Charger needs to look for the goldie. If I'm
Oh,
Grizzco
yeah.
Slosher, I'm not gonna search.
And also, I think we can do if the goldie comes from here. Actually, let me reset.
Oh, you mean it comes from Gusher 3? The bad one?
Well, let's start from here. I think this is the minimum and maximum range that the goldie should be living.
Yeah, I think also you can like damage the goldie a bit while it's on the Gusher. Like you can
Yeah.
just walk up to it, damage it a bit, get the egg, go to basket, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
by the time you do that, it'll like be in the little orange line.
Like anything
I just don't
past
want to.
this is no good.
Yeah. Ideally, you'd want to kill it before the Gusher too. Like, okay, if the goldie comes from 1 or 4, like you'd start killing it at the chokehold. You start damaging it at the chokehold, and then like you kill it by then, by the little line. It might be hard with some comps, but ideally, I think that's what it should be. On dynamo rotations, I think usually like the top teams will start killing it while it goes on the ramp. If the goalie comes from 1 or 4, then there's a dynamo rotation. They'll start hitting it while it's on the ramp. So like it dies by the basket when it first turns. I feel like you could also do that on this rotation. It might just depend on the comp. Like if you have 4 Grizzco Chargers, then you don't need to do that technically. But if you don't have a lot of DPS, hitting it early is definitely a valid tactic.
If it's full of blasters and brawlers, we can start sooner, like right here.
Yeah, you should definitely do that with. You might have to use a special too, at times.
And Splashdown
And like,
can be used right here, if needed, because it won't open this gusher as well.
yeah, you should do it at like the start of orange or that blue little dot, because if the splashdown opens the basket gusher, it's kind of annoying.
Okay, there was another thing I was thinking of. So let's say the eggs look like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can do a 2-2 split here to gather the eggs. So 2 players starting from this end, 2 players starting from that end, and work their way to the middle. And then once...
Yes. Yeah. You're right. I was just gonna interject and say like the people who start on like the left side where like the chokehold is, they should start searching for the goalie because they're closest.
Yeah.
To 1 and 4. I mean, if it's 2, great.
And then I'd say once there are just a bit of eggs left, we can start searching. Because by then, the goldie, if the goldie is in 1 or 4 or 3 even, then we'd have time to get these last eggs at the point the goldie is around here.
A lot of it will be RNG because okay, let's say the first gusher you get is 2 and you kill it. Ideally, I think you want the second one to be 1 because if it happens at 2 again, like that's so many eggs there and like not enough time. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't seem optimal.
I feel like we're
Like
gonna
getting
need...
2 and 1 alternating is good. Getting 3 is the worst, and 4 is okay, I think.
Yeah, if there's a ton of eggs on the field, I feel like we're gonna need a little break to egg run. and then start seeking.
Yeah, you might have to use specials there too if you get like double 2. If you get like basket goldies at 2, it might be annoying. Like, because I mean, like the eggs will keep piling up, snatchers will keep happening. You'll need the DPS to kill the goldie because I mean, Grizzco DPS is great, but it's not Dynamo DPS. So, yeah.
Okay, another issue I'd like to tackle is special overlapping, which we all
Mhm.
use specials at the same time and they're not fully used because the Goldie dies before it. Because we all use
Mhm.
the special.
Mhm.
I feel like the specials can be spaced out a little, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they should. I mean, miscommunication happens. VC helps with that, but at the end of the day, if it happens, it happens. No big deal.
Yeah.
Ideally not, but I mean, yeah. Um, is that it? I can't think of anything else.
I feel like in voice chat regarding the special usages, we can call out ahead of time instead of when we're in the process of doing it. Like right when we're about to do it, we can say, like instead of that, we can say, I'm going to splash down the next Goldie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good. On like, if I'm like Ray, I might just say someone use splashdown as well.
Okay.
But yeah.
Because the thing is, if you say it as you're doing it, I'm going to splash down, maybe someone
Yeah.
already is using bomb rush. Like they pressed it at the same time you said it.
Yeah, you're right. The only thing I can think of like it would backfire is that if you died, like this person who said I'm gonna splash down next died, then like someone might not realize they have to use bomb rush.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think anyone. Hopefully, no one dies.
Yeah.
But I mean, deaths happen, right? Just the nature of it. So yeah. Um, that's all I have to. I don't know. High seeking is not like a difficult wave. It just might be a bit weird on Grizzco.
I guess that's all for seeking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next is rush. Which I think,
Use all your specials.
yeah.
Use all 8 specials, right?
So
I
like
feel like. Sorry. You go ahead.
the last waves, this backspawn I think also applies to rush. So it can only
Mm-hmm.
be there once. It cannot repeat. Or it cannot be consecutive, I mean.
Okay, that's good to know.
So most of the time they'll be coming from here. But we still have to be careful of here.
Grizzco Slosher has like a really big role to play because they need to pay attention to where it's coming and like
Where it'll
dump
be.
sloshes out. Because I mean, you're basically invincible against the rush when you have Grizzco Slosher. Like you can just slosh once, you're good.
Yeah.
Let me think. My concern is like with Grizzco Slosher when you slosh, the Goldie might die early and like the eggs go everywhere. At that point, I'd say like make sure to grab the eggs. Like I think Snatcher injection is just random. It's basically random. It might work, it might not. On Grizzco rotations, you might have the leeway to kill some Snatchers, which might help, but who knows? Grizzco Blaster can like shoot in the water. Like if it stays by the basket gusher and just like focuses on those 2 spawn points, I think it's good. It could stand there too, right?
I feel like
But like with grillers, yeah.
these are the possible blaster or umbrella locations.
I agree. Ray and Inkjet can also be used in those areas. I just say make sure when you're playing Rush, you stand like by the basket gusher. Like the person with aggro should do that. Because you want the Rush to go like in the green area, like where you stun the griller. If it goes into red, it's bad. Red is like suboptimal.
Oh yeah, then that becomes, if the direction is changing when that happens, it becomes a triple pincer.
Yeah, so
So
it's
at
like
all
not worth
costs,
it.
keep the rush in this area.
Yeah, you just stay there. You might as well just stay there. If you have aggro. If you don't have aggro, then I mean, go wild.
And also, a couple seconds or a few seconds before the aggro changes, we all huddle in this area, maybe?
Yeah, that might be good just to play it safe. I say like I mean, if you didn't have aggro, like you don't have aggro, just be safe and come back because unless you have like inkjet or splashdown,
Yeah, those are
because if you have
the...
inkjet or splashdown, you can be a bit like riskier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else?
I feel like G-Slosher doesn't have to spam. It can space out its sloshes.
I think it only needs to do like one slosh. Basically, I don't think it can use two, but I feel like only one slosh is good enough because you have other weapons killing the goalie.
Yeah, so if the rush is coming from here... That was bad. If it's like this, the G-Slosher can just slosh this way, and by the time this slosh is over, you have recovered ink for the
You
next
do a
slosh.
second one,
Yeah.
yeah. What about if it comes from like the blue, or I mean I don't know what it is, like the other path.
The other
No, the other
part...
one, like the like the one below.
Oh.
Not that one, not that
Oh,
one,
yeah,
that
that's
one.
the blue one.
So if you're Grizzco Slosher, what do you do there?
I feel like it's still better to just slosh this way.
I think Blaster will be more responsible about hitting it early. Like it'll have more responsibility about hitting the fish horde early.
I think Blaster can be roam near to basket the entire way or most of the entire way and can act as a backup chump killer for the blue and red spawns.
Yeah, that sounds good. Grizzco Charger, of course, needs to like space out
Probably.
his charges to hit the Goldie and stuff. Anything else?
I feel like egg running should be done in the first 5 seconds of the interval. Otherwise, stay back at basket.
Wait. Oh no, you mean like before the aggro change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's say the spawn direction is coming from this way. Actually, no. Let's say the spawn direction just changed. So, what, it's like...
You should be heading back to basket. Like you should already be at basket when the aggro changes. Like when
Yeah,
the timer hits like every 10 seconds.
we'll be like around here, I'd say. And so, let's say spawn direction changes, G-Slosher handles the new direction wherever it is. And for the next 5 seconds, the other weapons can be... At least 2 other weapons can be running eggs wherever they are, maybe here, wherever. For the first 5 seconds or 6 seconds, and then they'd come back to the box for the next aggro change.
Yeah.
We also have to be wary of eggs that land down here. And
Yeah,
maybe
those are
here.
kind of annoying. If you don't have aggro, I think you should just go for them. Because I mean, I think like one weapon can technically like I don't think there'll be a lot of deaths on Grizzco. But yeah, I
I'd
think you
say
should like if you don't have aggro, you have like a responsibility to grab those eggs.
yeah, I'd say prioritize the fire eggs first that are at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if
You could wait, like you could wait until a snatcher spawns to do snatcher injection, but it's all kind of random. So
I feel like even if the egg is right on top of the current direction, it's still possible with the Grizzco weapons to push through them.
yeah, you can just dive headfirst in with the Grizzco weapon. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
The problem comes down when people jump in. I'm very guilty of this. People jump in, then aggro changes on them. You're not gonna get out of that even
Yeah.
if you have like the only thing that saves you from that is splashdown or inkjet, which is why I said like if you have splashdown or inkjet, you can take some mega big risks. Anything
Mhm.
else about high tide rush?
I feel like the most dangerous things are the pincers when they're coming from when the
Yeah, at that point, like a special should be used.
here
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Grizzco weapons have AoE because I mean, if there wasn't, then there'd be so many snatchers that you think would die, but they go right behind you, start attacking you. It's the worst.
Okay, what do you think the G slosher should do in this situation? So let's say the G slosher just sent a slosh toward this way.
Yeah.
So this is spawn direction 1, this is 2. The 2 comes after 1.
Mm-hmm.
So the slosh was just sent. 2 is just starting now. Do you
I think you
think...
should immediately focus on 2 because I'm assuming like one's like chums will be killed by somebody else, like the blaster. You have your team to back you up.
Yeah.
If death happens, the death happens. But I think like you should just focus on 2 because if you focus on 1 again and you slosh, like it'll be too annoying to deal with 2 after that.
I feel like here is where the G slosher can... So let's say the G slosher hasn't sloshed yet. It can slosh this
Mm-hmm.
way, and then immediately after slosh this way, and then maybe after
Mm-hmm.
slosh this way again, because by that time the last slosh that was sent this way would be dissipating.
Yeah, at that
And
point, I think that could work. I just be aware of like your ink tank because that'd be like you'd have like one more slosh left, so you need to uh start refilling right after the third slosh or
yeah, at
second
that
slosh or
point I'd
something.
be relying on the other weapons to help tackle the next one. Like
Mm-hmm.
me doing this or the G slosher doing this allows the other players to get ready for the next direction, since yeah, if you know what I mean. Like the
Okay,
slosh that
anything
is sent
else?
this way
Yeah.
gives the other players some time to I don't know, prepare to shoot this way instead of just focusing on this way. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. You just have to be aware you have your like team to back you up, and hopefully your team does back you up. I think they will. I mean, like I think people notice at different times. Like not everyone's awareness is at the same level as each other. So if somebody notices first, because somebody notices second, it'll be fine. If that makes any sense, like people will naturally clean up the mess. I think just remember specials are there. Like your specials will get the most usage in high tide grillers or high tide rush, and probably like actually all the high tide night waves. I think they'll get the most usage there.
I feel like if a death does happen, a splashdown immediately follows?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it depends whether you get aggro or not. If you do get aggro right after the death, immediate splashdown. But if not, like, you might wait like a tiny bit, if that makes sense. Not because like you noticed late, but because like actually no, it is exactly because of that. Because like when somebody dies and you get aggro, I feel like it's just immediate splashdown. Like you'll notice faster than when somebody didn't die. The only thing I'd say is like be wary of like using inkjet and splashdown at the same time, or inkjet and ray even, because that's kind of like a not a waste, but less effective.
Oh, speaking of Ray, I feel like it can also be done to substitute for G-Slosher, like in the Griller's Wave that I
Yeah,
mentioned.
yeah, I think it can be used like in the same way.
Like if G-Slosher goes down and things aren't really a big mess, we can still manage the next wave with 3 players, then maybe a Ray can come in at that point to substitute for the G-Slosher until it's revived.
Yeah, I agree. Can definitely be a big save.
Hmm.
Okay, enough of Rush, right? We're done with Rush. Well, I mean, the only other thing is like high tide fog, and that's not too bad. Like honestly, with high tide fog, it's like high tide basically, right?
Yeah, but
There's like 3
just...
rules. Like, well, there's 3 rules in my mind. 1, Grizzco Slosher and Flyfish. 2, Grizzco Charger and Drizzlers. And 3, watching out if there's like a Stillhead and a Goldie combo. I don't know, what else?
If there are a bunch of eggs at basket and the host isn't there, presumably I'm hosting most of the games that we're playing in.
Yeah.
You can just call me over and I'll collect the eggs. Given that there's
I
not
think
something more pressing to attend to.
I think Goldies make it up pretty fast to the basket, so I think it'll be fine. I just be worried that like I feel like if you're non-host, you can still run the egg technically, but you don't want to do that all the time. But I mean, if you have nothing to do, might as well run like a few of those 10, like 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
I can see that happening if Reiko has the G-Slosher and there's like plenty of life you start with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
At that point, I think that we shouldn't be putting so much pressure on Reiko. If we see eggs piling up, then we just grab them.
I think at least 2 non-hosts gathering basket eggs is the equivalent of a host. If that makes sense. I don't know if it's
Wait, say it
applicable.
again.
2 non-hosts gathering basket eggs is the equivalent of a host gathering basket eggs. Because of the lag.
Oh,
Like,
I think it's about the same. Yeah.
not being super technical with my estimation, but
I mean, ideally, you'd have like a host and a non-host just dumping in the eggs. That's super fast.
yeah.
I feel like that can definitely happen because you never. My problem with if Reiko has Grizzco Slosher, um, or like technically, there's gonna be a time where we're not playing with you. And we have Brian instead, right? Um, so like if host has Grizzco Slosher and he's the only she is the only Grizzco Slosher, um, it'll be like annoying to I don't know run the eggs
Yeah,
if
basically
they need to focus on something else.
the attention is split between basket eggs and flyfish.
So yeah, I think non-host should definitely run some basket eggs here and there just to like relieve the pressure a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all for Arc? I feel like that's all. I can't think of anything else that's even worth mentioning for Arc.
Uh, I think that's it.
Yay, we defeated Ark. Ark is over. I don't know. I mean, if you want, I think that like if you get a high tide night wave, I think 200 is pretty like realistic. Like not even 200. Like let's say 180. Like 180s are pretty realistic. I'm pretty sure you'll see a lot of 200s though, because I remember the first Grizzco arc. There were a decent amount of 200s on that rotation. So yeah, I expect this one to be like insane.
Yep.
I'd say this is the most busted rotation outside of like Dapples and Sploosh on any map, or
Dynamo Splush. Oh no, it was Dynamo and Dapples, right?
I'm guessing
Yeah.
Dynamo on like Arc is like the most busted rotation, technically, like theoretically speaking. That's if you get high tide seeking. You can play for like 9 hours and not get high tide seeking.
That's the two bait.
Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Oh, I guess yeah, one thing. I mentioned this earlier, but like let's just throw like wave 3 if it's not like a good wave. It's just not worth it. Cause like if you're not getting like a good wave 1 and wave 2 and then you get a good wave 3, then yeah, you can play it. But I don't know. I don't want to waste a lot of time.
You don't want to give Reiko more 194s?
Let's make sure to get a 194, yeah. Let's give him one more 194, then we can get 200.
No.
I don't know, that's all I think I had to say. Let's adjourn.
Okay, let's adjourn with this map of normal tide.
No, this is too much. I don't want to see this.
Okay, fine. We'll end it there.
Alright. Thank you. Now I can eat.
Me too.
Bye.
Bye.